All right, I just wanted to start off with letting everyone know, or telling everyone know what Jayden Dalke meant to the Saskatchewan Roughriders. Jayden was a loved teammate by obviously all of his teammates in the building, but also from his teammates that he played with in junior football at Alberta, and then obviously here. Loved by all his coaches, loved by all our staff. If you've ever had a chance to meet Jayden, you know exactly what I'm talking about. You never left a conversation with Jayden where you didn't feel happy, positive, someone that was always smiling. Never had a bad day. Always just a pleasure to be around. Someone that loved what he was doing, loved the game of football, loved his teammates. In football he was tough and reliable, accountable, never wanted to let anyone down. He was someone that always wanted to do good for his teammates, and you could see when things didn't go his way, how much he wore it on his sleeve. And how much it meant for him, to do a good job for himself, his teammates more importantly, and the coaching staff. Super tough, as I said. I can remember just last year, Jayden being injured in a game, leaving for the hospital, and sure enough, in the third quarter, you look out and Jayden's back on the field. I don't know if I've ever seen that in my time. But that's what it meant to him. Most guys will kind of just shut it down. He was more anxious to get back. Even this year, Jayden had fractured some bones in his hand. I know those of you that watched the last game would notice that he had a club, and he was somebody that was at tears not being able to play in the game because he had to sit out a few weeks. We obviously would like to give our condolences on behalf of our organization to Jayden's family, his friends, anyone that has come in touch with Jayden. We're deeply saddened by this tragic event. Like to take the time to thank the media for giving his family the time to reach out to his loved ones prior to it going public. I know that meant a lot to his family, giving them the time to make the calls to Jayden's family to give them the saddened news. And then I would also like to thank the CFL community, the amount of people that have reached out to us. It's kind of overwhelming what the community in the CFL is all about. Teams that you don't get along with, how they reach out in a time like this is quite humbling. And I want to thank everyone that's reached out to give their condolences to Jayden's family. It's certainly appreciated, and it's humbling to be involved with such a great league.
That, of course, was Saskatchewan Roughrider General Manager Jeremy O'Day addressing the media earlier today following the news that Saskatchewan Roughrider captain and linebacker Jayden Dalke passed away following a car crash on Saturday evening at the age of 30. In a moment, of course, we're going to be talking Roughriders and how they move forward on the field. There will be football games, there will be roster moves, there will be all the conversations that we normally have. But we wanted to start by giving the Saskatchewan Roughriders their opportunity to speak to Rider Nation and the fans and talk about who Jayden Dalke was. So to Jayden's family, friends, teammates, the Rough Rider organization, and everyone whose lives he touched here at the Sports Cage, you are in our thoughts as well. Same goes for Bishma Rajuri, who was also the other fatality in that collision that took place over the weekend. So Jeremy O'Day addressing the media. He wasn't the only one who spoke at Mosaic Stadium today. In fact, quarterback Trevor Harris had the opportunity to speak with you, Dave, right?
Yeah, spoke with Trevor after the fact. The way the Riders kind of have approached today was that they had the team captains come and speak. So Nick Wiebe, Trevor Harris, Jameer Thurman all spoke with the media, shared their thoughts, their memories, their approach to not only this week, but how they move forward as an organization is absolutely news like this. And again, sometimes you look from the outside looking in, you think, wow, the Rough Riders are huge. And they're not. They're like a small community that has been shaken to the core. And again, every staff member knows Jayden Dalke, and were absolutely rocked by the news when it came out yesterday.
Trevor Harris, thinking about, of course, the family and all the people surrounding Jayden Dalke.
Really, my focus is on his family. Right now, grieving mom and dad and siblings and girlfriend, and yeah, it's been heavy, but yeah, we're gonna do everything we can to honor Jayden.
Of course, you can get all the information stemming from today's media availabilities by just visiting us online at sportscage.com. And we'll hear from more of those captains throughout the show today as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Let's talk about what else is going to be coming up on the show today. We do have a busy one for you. So, of course, we will be talking all things Saskatchewan Roughriders coming off of a bye week. Also looking at what else happened around the CFL in Week 7 and then pivoting towards Week 8 as the Edmonton Elk will be in town this Thursday night at Mosaic Stadium. I refuse to call it Elks.
I hear this.
Mm-hmm. You know what? That's one of the things that Luke Mullender and I can agree on. It's Elk, not Elks. It's like if you had if you had the moose, the mooses. It's just, I'm not doing it. I'm not playing that game.
Why do you have to go there?
I'm just saying.
You and Luke.
I know. He also hates when you don't butter your toast enough. I learned that when we went for brunch at Denny's once. I really need him to tell that story and go off on a tangent one of these days.
Oh, good grief.
I have never laughed so hard at breakfast before. Oh, the poor guy. Anyway, we will have the call. Dave Thomas, Luke Mullender, myself, Wes Cage, Justin Dunk, Barney Shinkrook, starting at 4 o'clock for you this Thursday. So as we count down to that game this week, of course, we'll have plenty more to come from Rider practice. A little bit later on this hour, Pete the Ball Fan is what I'm going to be affectionately calling him. His full name is Randall Peters. So I had the opportunity to meet him at Curry Field last week when the Regina Red Sox had a game. Mm-hmm. And this is one interesting cat. So that was ballpark number 532 for him.
Wow.
He just tours around going to all these different ball diamonds, taking in various levels of baseball. It's pretty cool, some of the things that he's uncovered, and he learned quite a bit about the history of baseball in Saskatchewan. So I'm excited to pick his brain and see what he thought about Western Canada while he was out here. That's going to be coming up just around the corner. Rider Coaches Show today. We also have the one and only Dan Farthing, Plaza of Honor inductee and Riders head of strength and conditioning. I'm just thinking back to that scorcher of a game before the bye week when Hamilton was in town and how in the world he managed to help those players go an entire game without cramping.
Yeah.
So maybe we'll get some tips from him, Dave.
Well, when it comes to cramping, I've heard that sometimes you can't cut the mustard. And I'm curious if that's a real wives' tale or not. So I'll ask Dan all about it.
Okay. So that's coming up. Also, recently signed Regina Pat, Montreal Canadiens prospect Parker Trottier. And yes, there is relation to that Trottier family from Saskatchewan. Wow. So we're going to talk with him a little bit later on. Looking forward to meeting him. We have our clutch performers, as always. Darian Durant always joins us on Monday, shortly after 5 o'clock as well. So we're going to dive into Week 7 with him. And we're also going to talk a little bit about Davis Alexander specifically, because he just broke a record that has been previously held by Darian Durant for a decade. So that's going to be fun.
He made me do something that I don't do very often.
And what's that?
I broke one of my cardinal rules. I don't like cheering against people. I like cheering for people. And I was cheering so hard against Davis Alexander in Calgary. It wasn't funny. Sorry.
I don't blame you. Oh, but we got to dive into that
Absolutely.
Calgary game a little bit more because I kind of let that one slip through their fingers. Red Sox report that's going to be coming up. Change in the dugout last week with Rai Pathako stepping away as the club's general manager late in the season. And we are going to chat with Red Sox general manager Gary Brotzel. We're going to see what the rest of the season looks like with a new bench boss. So we'll dive into that with him. Also, you can join in the conversation at any point on the Prairie Land Rentals text line at 306-936-6262. Prairie Land Rentals, from small power tools to skid steers, they probably have what you need. You can deal with the owner at 600 Albert Street. Deal with them directly. And I want everybody to text in right now, 306-936-6262. And welcome back Colson!
Yay!
Colson's back! Fresh off his pat leave. You don't look too tired. I think you're more exhausted to be here.
That's probably the right way to put it, yeah.
There he is. If you're watching the stream, he's back. He's ready to go.
I'm refamiliarizing myself with the buttons, so if I'm slow on things, that's part of it.
That's okay. I mess up this show every Monday. It's fine.
I don't know about every Monday.
But congratulations, baby's doing well.
Yeah, baby and mama are doing good. I will only give her clutch performer today, just for the record. I could give her clutch performer for every day the past.
Oh, you're scoring brownie points. I like this.
Hey, having a baby's a big deal.
Yeah.
And having watched it now, I'm like, yeah, that's crazy. No. So. Mm-hmm.
So little Theo and Mom probably listening from home.
Yep.
Welcome back, Colson. We missed you.
Oh, thanks.
And I'm sure Curtis missed you as well.
Yeah, I'm sure he'll book some extra time off now.
Yeah, probably.
Make up for it.
Take a little bit of time. So yes, welcome back, our buddy Colson, joining us here on the Sports Cage. The Monday installment, by the way, brought to you by Sask Today, the voices of Saskatchewan. Visit Sask Today, Saskatchewan's leading online news, egg, and sports portal. It's like a newspaper from the old days without all the ink getting on your hands. We love that. Also, I guess before we go to break here and get ready for our first guest, we should talk a little bit of World Cup here because that's kind of one of the biggest sporting events that took place in the entire world yesterday. Yeah. What did you think? I mean, Spain back on top of the soccer world, obviously. Were you anticipating that? Do you think Argentina was going to run away with it?
I thought it was fate for Argentina, but they were so badly outplayed. And I promise this is the truth. I put my left arm in the air that my intention was to sit down, watch it front to back, no interruptions, watch every single second to be able to dissect what happened.
Did you fall asleep?
No, but we got to extra time, and I had paused the game during the halftime or whatever, right? So we get to extra time, and I'm like, I can't watch this anymore. Argentina is doing everything they can to stall, get to penalty kicks, and win it. And so I hit the fast forward button on the remote, and I missed the goal. The only goal of the game, and I missed it.
Rookie mistake.
I know.
Be honest, you were just rewatching Justin Bieber's performance over and over.
No, I like the Muppets.
Oh, okay.
I was all about the Muppets. Whenever Animal's on the drums and they're trying to do the Norway row, which didn't go over at all in the stadium, but I thought it was pretty cool with the Muppets. I was all about that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. You know, I will say you brought this up a little bit earlier when you were talking about Davis Alexander and cheering for people, not against them. I was cheering against Argentina because if they would have won, I would have felt like, okay, much like the NFL controversy or conspiracies that there's a script, FIFA's got a script. I'm so happy Argentina did not pull that one off. And I'm not the only one.
No.
I've talked to a lot of people who are really happy to see that Spain was able to pull it off.
Yeah, I think you're right. There's a lot of people that were happy.
Mm-hmm.
I just find it funny that you're talking about a script in FIFA, not believing that there is one. Just throwing that out there.
Whoa, okay. Maybe I'm not the one with the tinfoil hat in this room.
Hey, I don't know. Maybe the president put in another call. I don't know. Who knows?
Well, after 16 years, Spain once again has a World Cup trophy, and a new generation of stars have arrived on the world stage, which is interesting because you look at Messi. Is he going to be in the next World Cup? 2030? I don't know, because he's good. Again, when we say he's getting up there, in your 40s is not old.
True.
But is he still going to be able, is he going to stick it out for another 4 years?
Is he going to keep that level of play?
Exactly. That's the thing. Like he could still stay in the game, but is he still going to be the Messi we've come to know?
You know, I get the impression that if he can, he will, and Argentina would welcome him back with open arms. Mm-hmm. Maybe he doesn't play 90 minutes every game.
Yeah.
And don't get me into the Canadian captain and all about that, because that's just going to be frustrating too. Alphonso Davies plays 15 minutes of the World Cup as our captain because he was injured.
Yeah, but you got to watch that stuff. You don't want to re-aggravate anything, right?
No. But if you thought you were only going to get 15 minutes out of him, wouldn't you maybe have brought somebody else in? Just throwing that out there. Sorry. See, look at me all soccered up.
And that'll be it for the next 4 years.
That's it. Yeah, we're good.
I was going to say, keep in mind that like Messi walks the entire field, right? He doesn't run until the ball's near him or he's going to be in the play.
Did you ever see Gretzky back check?
I didn't watch Gretzky. I wasn't around then.
Fair enough.
Wow.
You wouldn't have seen it very often. That's all I'm telling you.
Wow. See, he's back and he's already feisty, Dave.
See, and I know, and people are texting, Gretzky back check. No, he didn't. Like, I don't even think that back-checking was invented back in the 80s, especially with the Oilers. Yari Curry, Mark Messier, no, they weren't back-checking. Why would you? You got Grant Fuhr back there, and, literally, end of the day, you can outscore a team 7, 8, 9 goals. Why not? Just saying.
You're not wrong. Okay, well, celebrations are happening in Spain, to say the least. Open Championship, you watched that at all this weekend, Dave?
I did, just to see if anybody was going to go for a walk in the grass and cheat, and I saw that. So I came, I conquered, and end of the day, it was a tough course, and I don't know. I find the Open the hardest one to watch because of the time change, but it was a great tournament, and again, an amazing final putt to win by a stroke, right? I didn't think it was going to go because nobody had birdied that hole essentially all week or all day.
And that's a difficult one, too.
So nails the putt, wins the championship, good for him. And like I said, one-shot victory, that's terrific.
New Zealand's Ryan Fox, biggest shots of his career, sinking a birdie on that 18th hole Dave was just talking about. So 39 years old, finished one stroke ahead to get the jug. That was his first one. That was the first time he'd finished inside the top 10 at a major.
Yeah, that's pretty cool, right?
That's a pretty special moment. And you watch those moments, post-tournament, and you feel so excited for the guy.
Agreed.
So that was a pretty big win for him. Career-defining moment. So way to go, New Zealand's own Ryan Fox. What a cool little story there. Okay, CFL major takeaways. I know we only have a little bit of time here before we got to jump into a break here. What did you see in the CFL in week 7? I know you were taking a little bit of a vacation here because it was a rider bye week, but I'm sure that you were still dabbling a little bit.
I was shocked that Montreal jumped out on Calgary as quick as they did. Calgary full marks for coming back. Mm-hmm. Just a little too late. And then again, a mistake by Eric Brooks at a key time kind of let them down.
Yeah.
Watching Toronto and Hamilton was interesting. Hamilton probably deserved better. Trey Ford, I thought, did pretty well with what he was given.
He was fitting
Made
in
a
there
couple
well.
of mistakes, but again, I love that the new rule was on display, and there's a lot of people. Liam Haralahu had a chance to win the game as the game was tied, had a chance to win the game, kick a field goal. It's over. We're going home. Good night, everybody. But, they were down by 1. But he goes ahead. He misses wide left, and it goes into the stands. Exact same thing as what happened against the Riders last year. Mm-hmm. And this year, though, there's no rouge for that because you can't defend it. The returner didn't have an opportunity to make a play, so no rouge. Toronto loses. So Toronto was head-scratching to me. Like, I thought that they looked like legit Grey Cup contenders when they were here.
Yeah.
And they're coming back soon, but I just thought that they struggled mightily.
It was such an interesting week in the CFL. We also got to see overtime rules on full display yet again. The shootout, I like how fast it is.
Yeah.
I'm starting to really dig this, if I'm being honest. I think it's going to be interesting as we get deeper into the season, and these games mean even more in the standings. But that was a lot of fun to watch. One of the standout things to me was that Lions-Elk game, not the fact that Nathan Rourke went down, and according to one of our contributors, Farhan Lalji, it sounds like it's only weeks, not months, like some people were initially reporting here. So hopefully Nathan Rourke gets back at her, gets nice and healthy, of course. But the fact that the Lions have figured out the run game with the Elks, with Rankin, they figured out how to stop him. So
Justin Rankin is less than 50 yards in 2 games against BC.
Yeah, he had 9 yards in the last game?
And then he's racking up over 125 on average per game, aside from that.
Which is wild.
Yeah.
So BC's got it figured out, and Edmonton's in town this week. So I feel like I need to ask someone a lot smarter than me in Darian Durant about that a little bit later on to see how he dissects that defense and what they're doing differently that other CFL teams have yet to pick up on.
Yep, I agree. And the one question that came to mind, so Drew Brown wins in Ottawa in overtime, right? So, of course, gets back at his former team. Ottawa drops to 0-6. And the two standouts, number one, Ottawa was leading by 17 points in the third quarter, and it could have been much more because they left at least 6 points on the table with turnovers in the red zone. So there was that, and Jake Mayer saying, we knew it was going to be a close game. I'm like, you should have blown the doors off them in the third quarter. But okay, fair.
Who says that?
Now, here's the interesting thing. So Zach Collaros is on the 6-game injured list. Now, granted, Winnipeg didn't play spectacularly on offense, but neither did the Riders offensively against Ottawa. Mm-hmm. Like, you have to give Ottawa's defense a little smidge of credit. But if Drew Brown gets his team rolling, does he just replace Zach Collaros?
I think that there's got to be at least a little bit of loyalty there. I don't think that you're going to be doing that if you're looking at the offense in Winnipeg. I think he's earned the right to be that QB1 despite having some injuries. This one, it's his neck. But when he's back and he's in full force, he knows the team well. I can't see that.
I don't dispute that he's not a great quarterback. I'm just saying, do you really want to disrupt that mojo? And I'll point right now to the BC Lions, right? They went and they brought Nathan Rourke in when Vernon Adams Jr. was an MOP clip, and they brought Rourke in. And remember how that ended.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to disrupt that? Because by all accounts, everybody is extremely happy in Winnipeg, from Drew Brown, the quarterback himself, to the coaching staff, so on and so forth. Do you want to disrupt that?
It's also still very early. Let's see.
The wheels could fall off next week, or you know what I mean? Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, things can change in a hurry here in the CFL. So you bring up a good point, though. We'll see what happens when he comes back.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll see how Drew Brown produces over the next couple of weeks.
Yes.
We probably should take a quick break here. But again, if you have any questions for any of our guests or anything like that, you can always shoot them in to us. No promises. But hey, text us on the Prairie Land Rentals text line 306-936-6262. Because still to come, Pete the Ball fan, Randall Peters from Chandler, Arizona, who has been touring all these ballparks. Curry Field 532 was that ballpark for him. So he's going to tell us all about his adventures and what he learned during his time here in Saskatchewan. We'll be right back. It's a Sports Cage, and it's streaming at sportscage.com, YouTube, as well as on 620 CKRM. Yes, welcome back to the Monday installment of the Sports Cage, which is brought to you by Sask Today. Check it out. We got everything you need. Agriculture, news, sports, everything's there. Stay up to date with the latest. Okay, so as we get our next guest here connected in Pete the Ball fan, we should talk a little bit about what you did see at Rider practice today, Dave, in terms of who was on the field, who was limited in practice. I know one of the names that you mentioned was TBH, Tommy the Train, Thomas Bertrand-Houdon. He was limited today, right?
Yeah, he wasn't going full bore with the first team offense, so again, probably he's coming back from the head injury, so probably just making sure everything is kosher before they get him ramped up and ready to go. The other ones that I thought were of note, Roland Milligan Jr. took every first-team rep today. Now, again, he's not fully eligible to come off the 6-game injured list,
right.
But, again, that was part of the ramp-up that we're talking about, and there's nothing stopping the Riders, should they like what they see, and why wouldn't you with Roland Milligan Jr., that you bring him off the 6-game early. Right. So there's that possibility. Benoit Marion, who was back along the defensive line. There were 2 new players that were signed today, and they made a little bit of an impact, more so absorbing the playbook. So really, those were the most significant changes and things that you could see today at practice. So again, like I say, I think the team got healthy over the break, and again, now have a huge mental obstacle to get over this week with the grief that they're feeling. But as far as the game itself and the players that are around and available, I think that's okay. The other question that I was actually sent was about punt return, kick return, right? Because Matthew Sexton, you'll recall, went down opening kickoff. Yes, so he was not on the field, as you can well imagine today. Fielding, again, all the receivers take turns fielding kicks, fielding punts. Again, Daniel Wiebe took a lot of reps in that vicinity, but I don't know that that's predetermined by any means. But just like I say, Daniel Wiebe did it in college, so
right.
He has got that background with him. But again, I don't know what the answer to that question is going to be. I can just say that a lot of the receivers did take reps.
Dylan Jeté, how close were you to seeing him in game action?
Well, of course, Riders draft pick, Canadian receiver. It's exciting watching him.
Which is a competitive room with the Saskatchewan Roughriders.
And I mentioned it to him when I saw him a couple of weeks ago, just like how excited I was just to see him, as I've been doing some study of his game film from YouTube, so on and so forth, and just the quick, I call it agility, the quick cut ability that he has, I think is going to be really, really fun to watch. And I'm just curious more so how it's going to fit in. And he's slowly taking more and more reps. Again, he also is on the 6-game injured list, but slowly starting to ramp up. And it'll be interesting to see what that leads to. And like, again, I don't know that he'll come off the 6-game injured list early, but again, it is a promising sign to see this young man with a lot of upside, which is, of course, what Jeremy O'Day, Kyle Carson, and crew saw when they drafted him this last year.
And of course, a reminder that the Saskatchewan Roughrider Foundation 50-50, you can still get an in on that early bird prize. Now, you do get a little bit of extra time because there was the bye week last week. You do have until Wednesday night at 10 o'clock to get in on this, but you might forget by then, so you might as well just go grab them now. Come on,
subscribe.
Or subscribe.
Or subscribe.
Yeah, if you're forgetful like me, then it's fine, right? It's just going to auto happen for you. Early bird prize this week, though. This one sounds like a lot of fun. Taste of Maritimes tour for 2. So the package includes, and I would love to do this, return flights from Saskatchewan to Halifax, 7 nights hotel accommodations, and some meals included. Or you can take $7,500 in cash. But I don't know. I would rather go to the Maritimes and just eat my weight in lobster.
Yep. You nailed it.
Yep. Big lobster girl right here. Okay. Wednesday night, 10 o'clock, riders5050.ca if you want to get in on the early bird prize. And then, of course, the tens of thousands of dollars to be won. So riders5050.ca. Without further ado, we're going to jump out on the Western Pizza Guest Hotline. Perfect pizza, generous amount of toppings, and all the Greek favorites you love. This is Pete, the ball fan that I met at Curry Field last week, originally from Chandler, Arizona. Thank you so much for taking the time.
Hey, thank you. It's a pleasure to be on with you. You're quite the accomplished sports media personality.
Well, I wouldn't say accomplished there, Pete, but I appreciate that. So, Pete, you and I were chatting at Curry Field last week, and you had mentioned to me that was ballpark number 532, which I just thought was absolutely incredible. You and your partner, Terry, have been touring around for how many years now?
Well, we've been together for 45 years, and we've really been hitting it hard the last 3 or 4. But for years, raising our family, we'd go on vacation anywhere. You go to a ballpark. And you go, hey, the league, we'll go hit a ball.
So at what point did you realize, okay, we should probably start keeping track of how many of these ball diamonds we're going to? Oh, we might have had him drop out. We might have to give Pete a call on the phone. His internet might not be great. So yeah, we'll get Pete on the phone here.
But 532, like 532.
532. And Curry, that was our first time at Curry Field.
Okay.
Which was a really, really cool experience, they were saying. I made them play a game.
Did you?
Name that tune. Oh, yeah.
How'd they do?
Nailed it. It was center field.
Oh.
How do you go with anything other than that when you got a guy like Pete sitting in the stands? Had to hook him up with a little bit of Red Sox swag.
Okay.
How many ball diamonds have you been to? Like professional, junior, college?
I don't know that number.
You haven't been keeping track. You're
no, but
slacking.
The only Major League Baseball game I've ever seen is in Toronto. I have never seen a Major League Baseball game anywhere else. I've broken into Olympic Stadium, but the Expos were long gone by then. But yeah, Fenway Park is up there on the list that I want to go to.
Mm-hmm. The Green Monster.
Yeah.
Everyone wants to see it, right? It's absolutely iconic.
I have no interest in going to Wrigley Field. I don't know why that is. Most of the people I talk to, that's on that list. I'd love to go to, PNC Park in San Francisco, right, where you can belt the ball into the ocean, or I guess the bay, not the ocean. But
Yankee Stadium has got to be up there for a lot of people as well. I would love to go to Yankee Stadium.
Yankee Stadium?
Yeah.
I just don't like the Yankees that much that
I would show up in Blue Jays gear.
Oh, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that I don't like them that much that I don't think I could go.
You can take my money. There's been so many iconic players that have gone through there, and just the history of Yankee Stadium in and of itself. I feel like that would just be a really cool experience.
The old Houston ballpark, I think, would have been cool, but they've renovated it since. But when it first opened, it used to have the hill in center field.
Mm-hmm.
I think that would have been cool.
I would have loved to see the Coliseum in Oakland.
Yeah, that would have been cool.
That would have been really cool.
Yeah.
I mean, again, just the history of that franchise and everything that has taken place in that stadium. I just feel like it would be such a unique ballpark to visit. It was probably falling apart and your seat might have broken the second you sat in it, but that's aside from the point.
Could have get mugged on the way there. It's not a great area of town from what I understand.
What's a trip without a little mugging, right?
But could you imagine, like, in its heyday when there's over, 40, 50,000 people, 60,000 there for a ball game? That would have been cool.
Well, it looks like we have Pete back on the phone line here now. Unfortunately, Pete, I think the internet just didn't want to cooperate with you today.
Spearfish, South Dakota. What do you expect, right?
So from South Dakota, dang, I like this. I think where you cut out there is I was asking At what point did you and the family decide we better start keeping track of how many of these ball diamonds we're going to?
Yeah, they started asking me about 10 years ago, and I started counting them up, go back through the years, all the different places I'd been, and then all of a sudden I realized I'd been in every major league city and seen a ball game of every major league team. Now, I'll preface that by saying I saw the Blue Jays play in Buffalo, so I still got to get to Toronto next year. But I've been to so many of the stadiums, and I got to just add a quick point. I heard you mention Yankee Stadium. Terry and I were there right after COVID, and they were the nicest people. I was shocked because I think all the bad New Yorkers that give them a bad name, I think they all moved out, and the nice ones stayed. They treated us really, really well. And to top it off, I got to tell this quick story. They were playing the A's, and Chapman loaded the bases, walking 3 straight players, and these Yankee fans were going nuts. In the 9th inning, a 1-run lead, he walks the bases full, and my wife, as God is my witness, said, "Oh, good. He's got him ready for a triple play." And on the very next pitch, for only the second time in Major League history, a game-ending walk-off triple play. And my wife called it. They thought she was a voodoo princess at that point. It was crazy.
They were all probably trying to shove their phones at her saying, "Hey, can you help me with some bets?"
Oh, yeah. They were wanting lottery numbers and everything. But the other thing is you mentioned something about the Oakland Coliseum. If you never went, count your blessings. That was a nasty stadium.
Oh, was it that bad? What was so bad about it?
I always say there's 3 or 4 important things that you really need to have a good stadium, a good experience, and one of them is a clean stadium. And they had let's say sewer issues at that stadium, and it was not good.
Oh.
We were there the last year they played there, and I'd been there back in the 90s, and it wasn't much better in the 90s, but it was really bad the last year.
So
but you never can tell when you see these stadiums on TV, can you?
No, because I
True.
would have loved to go, but maybe I'm okay.
There you go. Well, I got to tell you, our little trip to Canada was phenomenal. Every ballpark we went into was unbelievably nice, engaging folks. We saw high-quality baseball for the collegiate summer league that we've been visiting, and that was our 17th different collegiate summer league. And they stacked up really well with all the other ones we've seen.
What other ballparks did you get to check out while you were on this recent trip to Canada?
Okay, so to start off with, we hit 20 ballparks just on the way up. So we did see a Mariners game, saw my Diamondbacks get swept in Seattle. But we went to British Columbia and saw Matt Bailey Stadium in Vancouver, and I went to Westminster, the old ball Queen's Park there, and watched an adult league game. And then, of course, we went to the 6 ballparks in the Alaskan League, including the Follow the Midnight Sun game in Fairbanks, which they kicked that game off at 10:30 at night. It finished at 1:10 in the morning, and they never turned the lights on. It was crazy.
Wow.
And they did a really good job up there. Now, the cool thing about the Alaskan Baseball League is if you're an old guy like me, they don't charge senior citizens admission. And we also had a reindeer hot dog in Anchorage. That's the first.
A reindeer hot dog?
So,
is that the weirdest ballpark food you've ever found? It's hard to top, Pete.
Yeah, reindeer hot dog's right up there. I think buffalo chili was good. I mean, you'll see some weird things in some places, and, some of them I don't know that I'm brave enough to even try. But if you put it on a bun and throw a little mustard on it, I'm bound to eat it. But anyway, we got through that. We did the 11 ballparks in Alberta, and we got into 7 of them in Saskatchewan, so it was pretty good. Hit every team in the Western Canadian Baseball League but one, and that was Fort McMurray. But the side to that is I got to sit down and enjoy a baseball game in Moose Jaw with the owners of the Fort McMurray team, and Dutchie and Diane, and I can't remember their last name. I think it was Ionetti. very nice people. Sat there and drank beer with them and just telling me about their stadium and their team. And, I could tell these were folks that really how important the league was to them. So I thought that was pretty cool,
532 ballparks. Ballparks are always littered with memorabilia, different tributes. In Toronto, they just put up a statue for Joe Carter. What's the coolest piece of memento, if you will, that you found at a stadium thus far? And please don't say you saw a reindeer before the hot dogs.
I think one of the coolest things I saw, I've seen so many statues and I got photographs of all of them. Terry and I have probably got 30,000 photographs that we've taken in the last 10 years alone of these stadiums. But when it comes down to, there's two of them that I think are remarkable. One of them is at the new stadium in Texas, and you can only see this as if you get a tour of the back part of the stadium. And right up at the top of it, they have an office for Nolan Ryan. And there's a picture of Nolan Ryan beating up on Ventura, the guy for the White Sox, charged the mound on Nolan one time. And Nolan put a few knots on his head, but this guy hit Nolan in the face and he was bleeding. So he's got this guy just knocking the tar out of him. And it's the only photograph of that particular photograph that he autographed. He only autographed one of them. That was it. I thought that's pretty cool.
No doubt.
And then the other one is I like the stadium seat at the Mall of America. That's where I saw my very first baseball game ever in '69, was at the old Metropolitan Stadium. And some 570 feet from where home plate was at, Harmon Killebrew hit a stadium seat in the upper deck left field. Well, that seat is mounted in the exact position on a wall. It's got to be 40 feet off the ground, and home plate's all the way at the other end of the mall, so you could see how far he hit it. It's incredible. It really is. So, but there's just so many of them. I've found Satchel Paige statue. I've tracked probably 80 ballparks that the great Satchel Paige pitched in, and another 40 ballparks that Negro League teams played their games in. And then, lo and behold, I started hitting the Babe Ruth one. So I'll tell this. One of the first ballparks on this trip was in Dunsmuir, California. And it's a 100-year-old ballpark. And I go in and I kind of interview the guy for about 10 minutes. I said, tell me about the unknown facts of this ballpark. He goes, oh, we got Babe's shower. I go, you got Babe's shower? He goes, yeah, it's underneath in the locker room. When he played here in 1924, we boarded it up. And I go, so nobody's used that shower in 100 years? He goes, no, it's boarded up. He goes, would you like to see it? And I'm like, yeah. So I go up underneath the stands. I fight through the cobwebs and the spiders, and I'm standing on a dirt floor. This locker room is like a tomb, and there it is, boarded up, and he pops a board off, and there's this really ancient shower with just a pipe coming out for a shower head.
Did it still smell like cigars?
No, but there's a rusty old soap dish there with a little bar of soap. And I'm like, no way, that couldn't be. But, in a way it was kind of morbid and disgusting, but in another way it was pretty cool.
Well, that's a piece of history that you got to experience right there. And I understand when you were actually in Saskatchewan, Pete, you had an opportunity to take in some of our baseball history in this province, right? I think you mentioned that you went out to Pence.
I went out to Pence. That was before I got into Regina, and that was incredible. Just a little ballpark. It's almost like a cinder park. But, hey, Satchel Paige pitched there in '63. And the interesting thing is, when I got into Regina, and I'd never heard about Indian Head, okay? Well, I must have had half a dozen people tell me about Indian Head. They said, oh, you haven't heard about the Indian Head Rockets, have you? So I researched it that night when I got back to the RV park, and I told Terry, hey, we're going to drive out to Indian Head. And I can tell this story because it brings last year's story full circle. But we went out there, we hit the museum, we went to Robeson Field, and we found out, they had a black and Hispanic team that played, and I've heard all the stories about how a lot of the Negro League players came up after integration to the major leagues to play in Saskatchewan. Quite a few of them, a lot of Hall of Famers too. And I'm going through there, And I liked it so much, I easily spent $100 buying Canadian book on baseball and a stack of baseball cards. I had just anything with information. And they had this one black ball player that was from North Carolina named Tom Alston, a name nobody remembers, except he was the first Negro player to ever play for the St. Louis Cardinals. Flashback about almost 1 year ago to the day, Terry and I were in Greensboro, North Carolina, and I had heard about the Goshen Red Wings, the black team that played on the outskirts of Greensboro. So I went out to where they had played. I had it mapped on a field, did a little research, and it's now the New Lutheran Church, but there's still a ball field there. And right next to that ball field is a cemetery. And guess whose grave is sitting closest to first base on that little cemetery? Tom Alston. So a guy that I went and took a picture of his marker last year, having never heard of him before, came full circle this week when I saw his name as one of the Indian Head Rockets. I thought that's pretty cool. Not is it important? No, but it's kind of cool.
Wow. Yeah, because 75-year anniversary of the Indian Head Rockets last year. That was commemorated at a Red Sox game, actually. So it's...
I saw that, man. If I had good timing, I'd have been here for it.
You missed out, Pete. Well, you got to come back next summer.
Well, I got to tell you, I did get over to Park de Young there in Regina. I mean, what do you guys call that, Mosaic Stadium now?
Yeah, you went down to where the Riders play.
Yeah, so back in 1930s, that was Park de Young, and that's where officially you could probably say that was the first Major League Stadium in Canadian history, because there were a handful of regular season Negro League games played there in 1938 and 39. So, of course, I had to walk around the stadium, get pictures of it because of the historic nature of the facility, and got to admit those statues outside are pretty cool, the football statues. So that kind of made my day, too.
So, Pete, I put my fate in your hands. Which 5 ballparks should be on my bucket list?
Well, I'm going to ask you the big question. What type of baseball do you like? Do you like historic old baseball, or do you want to go hit the most modern, newest, up-to-date ballparks there are?
Let's go modern.
Modern? I'm going to go with just right off the bat, San Diego Padres.
Yeah.
San Diego and San Francisco are both pretty solid. I actually like Detroit Stadium. We were there for a day game last year, and that was pretty solid. And then on the minor league level, I would be probably looking at something like Dunedin or Pensacola, or even Biloxi, something on the water, that's got a modern feel for it. But I don't think you could go wrong on any of them. I haven't yet found a ballpark you could go wrong on. Even Oakland, I would go back and watch the game in Oakland again. I would just probably take some hazmat suits with me if I had to. But
a lot of hand sanitizer. Well, Pete, we are almost out of time here, but I do just want to ask before we let you run here, what's next on the docket?
Well, we've got the Spearfish Sasquatch and Casper Spuds tonight. And then from here, we'll be down in Nebraska for 3, and then over to Wyoming for a game. And then we're only got it mapped into Denver. We don't have anything after we get to Denver. We got family there, so we'll be there for 3 or 4 days. And then we got to make that last little dreaded stretch back home for a couple of weeks. And then we head back out in late August, early September, and we'll be out to the Midwest going back for a wedding, and we'll probably, instead of fly back there for the weekend, we'll drive back and spend a month on the road. And in Cincinnati, I want to get to their new ballpark. I've been to their old one, but I want to get to their new one. I want to do the Louisville Slugger plant, a few things like that. Probably go through Kansas City and hit the Negroes League Baseball Hall of Fame one more time. And then Terry and I are original season ticket holders for Arizona State University hockey, and I'm going to give a shout-out to one of our guys, Lucas Sillinger from Regina, who graduated last year with honors and is one of our outstanding former Sun Devils, so give him a shout out as well. But we'll pick up the Sun Devil season opener in St. Louis the 1st of October, and then we'll go home for hockey season. And the nice thing is we have the Arizona Fall League baseball, and before you know it, spring training heading up. So we'll get a bunch of baseball there at home over the winter months.
Well, let's get you up to over 1,000 here, Pete.
You know what? Good Lord willing, we'll get there. But, it's just, we're at a point where it's just like, let's just go do it, Yeah, you accumulate these parks, but I think on this trip, I don't know how many times we've hit parks we've been into before. So they don't add to the total, but they do add to the experience. And that's what we look for.
That's what counts.
And we find that the lower the level is, the more welcoming and the more the ballparks feel like they belong to the community. And that's probably what I enjoy the most.
Well, I'm so glad that you had a great trip here through Saskatchewan with your partner in crime there, Tracy. All of us baseball fans are vicariously living through you. So keep doing what you're doing, Pete. And thank you so much for taking the time today.
Hey, likewise. And y'all stay safe, okay?
Of course. Right back at you. That, of course, is what I'm going to affectionately refer to him as Baseball Pete, or Pete the baseball fan. Randall Peters from Arizona, who was up here just last week. We appreciate the time. Okay, we are going to take a quick break. On the other side, your sports ticker coming up. This is the Sports Cage. It's on the home of local sports, streaming at 620 CKRM, YouTube, and sportscage.com. Taking a look at your sports ticker, the Saskatchewan Roughriders have added some depth on defense, signing American defensive lineman Derek Robertson, and defensive back Millard Bradford. So, of course, Robertson brings CFL and pro experience after spending 3 seasons with the Tennessee Titans, appearing in 19 games and recording 5 sacks. Most recently, he played with the DC Defenders of the UFL, where he earned all UFL honors after posting 8 sacks, 12 tackles for loss. Bradford joined Saskatchewan after spending time with the New Orleans Saints and Chicago Bears. TCU standout, played 58 games in college, 231 tackles, 4 interceptions, 19 pass breakups. Western Canadian Baseball League action. Moose Jaw Miller Express taking on the Medicine Hat Mavericks on the road. Then you got the Weyburn Beavers in Swift Current facing the 57s. WCBL All-Star Game took place over the weekend. 5 players from the Regina Red Sox were part of the 9-2 victory for Team East over Team West in yesterday's All-Star Game at Cairns Field. Major League Baseball, Toronto Blue Jays visiting the Tampa Bay Rays. Pardon me. First pitch is going out just after 5 o'clock. We talked about it earlier, but the FIFA final was yesterday. 1-0. Spain defeating Argentina. And the U.S. Open, New Zealand's Ryan Fox delivered one of the biggest shots of his career, sinking a birdie putt on the 18th hole to come out with his first major. SportsCage.com poll: which CFL team depends on their starting quarterback most for success? You can let us know what you think by voting at SportsCage.com. And of course, the news broke yesterday through the Saskatchewan Roughriders. Of course, the Saskatchewan Roughriders' own Jayden Dalke has passed away following a crash on a Saskatchewan highway. You can find more details on that at SportsCage.com and SaskToday.ca. That was your sports ticker for Reliance Group of Companies. We'll take a quick break. Coming up, Dan Farthing will join us for the Riders Coaches Show. Hang tight. This is 620 CKRM, and of course, you can watch the stream at SportsCage.com. Welcome back. Monday installment of the Sports Cage, brought to you by Sask Today, the voices of Saskatchewan. Visit Sask Today, Saskatchewan's leading online news, egg, and sports portal. Of course, full control room here today. Dave Thomas, voice of your Saskatchewan Roughriders, back from vacation, so he's with me here.
Present.
Yes.
Sorry, that we're doing roll call.
I am taking attendance. And then also Colson Schultz, back from his paternity leave. He's got a screaming baby at home to get home to, but I mean, this is probably more challenging than that. So thank you for being here. He's shaking his head.
6 of one, half a dozen of the other.
Yeah. Well, you showed up, so that's a good sign. Yes, Colson is back with us. You can always reach out on the text line, by the way. The Prairie Land Rentals text line is 306-936-6262 if you want to join in the conversation at any point. From small power tools to skid steers, they probably have what you need. Deal with the owner, 600 Albert Street. Still to come, your clutch performer, your sprinkle of the day, Darian Durant after 5, and of course that Red Sox report before we wrap up the show at 6 today. But in the meantime, got to get to the Coaches Show.
It's time for the Sports Cage Riders Coaches Show. For Steelcraft Doors, made in Western Canada for Western Canada. Locations in Regina, Saskatoon, and Prince Albert, and servicing all of Saskatchewan.
Well, you know him as Saskatchewan Roughrider receiver, 2009 Plaza of Honor inductee, also part of the Riders football operations head of strength and conditioning. Dan Farthing joins us now. Dan, thanks so much for coming in, Coach.
Thanks for having me.
So I think we need to just start off with what everybody is talking about in Rider Nation today. Of course, very tragic news coming through yesterday morning, released by the club. The passing of Jayden Dalke after that fatal crash on a Saskatchewan highway this past Saturday night. When you think back on Jayden and the legacy he leaves behind, what comes to mind?
Well, so many things come to mind, actually. The player that he was when he showed up, actually, even before that, his journey to get to become a professional as well, the hard work that took. Coach Mace described it as the long road today, and it was very much that. It was overcoming a lot of challenges and meeting all those challenges. And one of those most profound challenges that I was witness to as well was when early in Coach Mace's tenure here, and he's trying to obviously change the culture and the standard of the team. And, he had to confront Jayden about some of his play, some of his play that was causing some penalties and harming the team. And, it was a confrontation that kind of happened in front of the team, and he challenged Jayden to become a part of this new winning culture or deal with the consequences kind of thing. And it was a very hard thing to witness and to be witness to, and to remember that moment, to know his response to that, because some people wouldn't have responded the same way. Some people might have turtled, and he responded in a huge way and helped us become a championship team. And now he was voted by his peers as a captain of a former championship team and hopefully another championship team.
What has the last 24 hours been like? Obviously, tons of memories would come flooding when you think Jayden Dalke.
Yeah, for sure. I think there are a few players on the team that have been with Jayden from the very beginning, and I think those players were hit hardest, most. I think also those people that brought Jayden here and had the faith in him to see his journey through as a pro. I think it's hitting very, very hard. It's a very, very tragic story, and doubly tragic when there's another young man that's also involved who's lost his life as well.
In 2026, sometimes we do rush to judgment, but again, I think right at this time we need to reflect, remember, and acknowledge this being the tragedy that it is.
Yeah, exactly. It is a total tragedy. There's two very young men here who've got the better part of their lives to lead that are no longer leading them, and that's a terrible, terrible tragedy. I think when someone that you're used to coming to work every day and seeing with a smile on their face and trying to put their best foot forward, and not only that, trying to help all others put their best foot forward as well. When that person is no longer in the room, there's a void, for sure. There's a total void, and it's been exceptionally difficult and shocking, and even more shocking as the minutes and hours go by. So, I just know Jayden as a kind-hearted soul, a hard worker, a very intelligent football player, a guy who's been a guest at my house and who's been nothing but thoughtful and helpful with every one of his visits. And I would have him there again any day for sure.
The one thing that did stand out to me, and you've been a part of professional teams, you've been part of this family that is the Saskatchewan Roughriders. The one term Jameer Thurman used today was glue guy. What does that mean?
I think glue guy is a guy who sort of bridges the gaps between all people who come from maybe some different backgrounds, different skill sets, different paths, I guess, different positions. Glue guy can describe a lot of different things, but the best way to describe it is it brings people together and in a very positive way. And I think that Jayden is exactly that type of person, and that's a great way to describe him.
I thought it was interesting today. Jeremy O'Day mentioned that everyone is going to grieve in a different way. And obviously, as a coach, as a teammate, everyone has a different way of going about their leadership and helping one another to lean on one another. How do you see that? And how does everyone do that for one another when everyone is a different individual, if you understand what I mean?
Yeah, I think Coach May said it again today. He just asked everybody to respect everybody's process, because it is so very different. And, I see it as so many different ways too. I see it as a former player, what that would do to a team. I see it now as a coach, someone who's had the opportunity to see this guy grow and develop and to become the person that he was. And I also see it as a parent, because some of these guys are young enough to be my kids, and having met Jayden's parents at the Grey Cup post-game celebration last year, and had a small exchange with them and told them what I thought of their son. I think what I told them, I think, is what everybody wants to hear about their kids, that they should be very, very proud.
Jayden Dalke goes from being drafted in the 6th round to a Grey Cup champion last season. When the news broke yesterday, there was an outpour of tributes and condolences from everywhere across the league. And in the statement from the Saskatchewan Roughriders, something stood out to me, and it was the fact that there was a lot of focus on how he made people feel. It wasn't about, what he did on the field necessarily. It was about who he was as a person, and understanding that, other people in the league have noticed that. What does that say about the brotherhood of the CFL?
Well, I think information like that gets shared quite quickly, and I think that when people have the opportunity to talk about other people on their team, those guys that are glue guys, that leave you with a smile on your face, that help you elevate your play regardless of where they are on the depth chart. It's easy to talk about those guys, and they come to the forefront of most conversations, and I think Jayden would definitely qualify as one of those guys.
Dan Farthing is the strength and conditioning coach of the Riders. I feel shame somewhat today to admit that while you jog off the field, look like you could step into the lineup tomorrow, I sat on a recliner during the bye week and had a hot dog for lunch. But when you are in this form of mentality, right, where you're going through something as traumatic as this, you can also help yourself out physically, can't you? If there's a correlation between diet, physical activity, and healing.
Oh, I would say 100%. I would have to say that after the news was shared, there were several guys that came into the weight room, and just there's usually loud music playing, there's usually upbeat music playing, and there was nothing, but there was a lot of iron being thrown around, and that's sort of a cathartic way to deal with grief, I guess, for some, but some people didn't come in. So I think that's something that everybody deals with differently, like we said earlier, right? And everybody's respecting that process, and we're just trying to understand what happened and come to terms with it. Share our sorrow with his family, with the other family involved as well. It's very hard to just get distracted from your normal routine very easy to get distracted, So it's hard to stay in tune with your routine and to prepare yourself for what you have to do on Thursday. And that's everything from this knot in your stomach that's maybe preventing you from eating and maybe shedding tears, like where you're becoming more dehydrated and things like that. This sounds really cold and callous, but it's the fact of it. You're just not in tune with your own routine anymore. And it's gonna be difficult to do that, for sure. I think we're gonna all help each other out as best we know how.
When it comes to your job as strength and conditioning coach, let's turn the page and maybe look a little bit more at what you do.
Okay.
And so you look at the number of guys that there are on the roster. Each one's an individual. Each one wants to get their body at right and at peak performance. Do you have to tailor make what you do as a coach in that instance for each individual player, or is there some form of blueprint out there that you follow and this is how we're going to be successful?
He's asking
together?
If you use ChatGPT or if you figured it out.
Or if you ate a hot dog for lunch.
I think what has allowed me, to be successful in this role, I do see myself as that, just having been involved with a couple of championship teams now. I think one of my biggest strategies is to show a ton of respect for the players' loyalty to how they got to where they currently are. So that doesn't mean my way or the highway. Drop everything that you did. I don't think I'd have any success like that. So respecting the process that they used to get themselves to become a professional, and sort of, massaging that with a little bit of my input here and there. And just kind of like having them ask me questions and asking them questions and sort of finding a happy medium. And in that sense, it gets very individual for sure, because a lot of guys should have loyalty to what got them to the place they are right now. And I would never ask them to abandon that. So So I think that, having that respect for them has allowed me to sort of like earn some of their respect, and making them smoothies after practice every day. That also creates some conversations and allows them to, trust me a little bit and know that, for them to know that I'm out for their best interests as well. And I think it's worked well.
Now I just want to know what's in a Coach Farthing smoothie.
It's a secret recipe.
Trademark.
We'll get it out of him one of these days. I am curious, however, coming off the bye week prior to that, a very, very hot game here in Regina against the Hamilton Tiger Cats. The hottest CFL game I know I've ever attended, but not a single player on the Riders sideline, at least to my knowledge, had any cramping. So how much preparation goes into that to ensure that your players are in tip-top form?
I think we've done an exceptional job of that this year too. We've done a way better job of educating our players in terms of what they need to do to prepare for the heat, and that comes from information about hydration, monitoring their own weight throughout the course of the week, so their fluid replacement, but also things that have to happen to help them actually keep that fluid in their bodies. Like the electrolytes that have to go alongside of that, and also keeping their muscles fueled as well. Because I think that the small doses of carbohydrates throughout the course of a game, that also helps as well. And sometimes those little bits of information sometimes get lost in translation. But so far the guys have been doing an exceptional job, and that's been a lot of help with someone we've actually. I've leaned on, and our team has leaned on, Thomas Hamilton, who's helped us with our sport performance nutrition consulting as well.
Okay, I've wanted to ask this question for a long time. There's an old wives' tale from the U of S Huskies days, playing at what is now Princess Auto Stadium in Winnipeg. Tremendously hot day, 38 degrees or so. Guys are cramping up, and someone, air quotes, found a broken lock to a concession, went in and grabbed a box of packets of mustard. Apparently the players were on the mustard to help with the cramping. Does this really work?
We do have mustard in our athletic therapy kits. Greg Mayer and his staff keep the mustard around, and they keep the pickle juice around, and it does work with some situations. Maybe I'll leave it at that. For sure. I think it's there's some things in mustard that and the dill pickle juice that will help you actually maybe keep your fluid balance a little bit more in check, and also your electrolyte balance as well. But it's just one of the many tools, because I don't think that if you were to ask any sport nutritionist what causes cramping specifically, tell me. Without a shadow of a doubt, every one of them would say the jury is still out. So, and I'm not exaggerating. So, and everybody's response to exercise in the heat is individual as well. So sometimes the culprit or the thing that is causing the cramping is not the same from person to person to person. So you kind of have to keep everything in your arsenal to kind of keep cramping in check. And so we provide a lot of options, and one of those options is French's mustard packets.
Does your head spin? Because, again, an algebraic equation, if I go and I take calculus, it's going to be the same today as it was yesterday. But in sports and, again, nutrition and fitness, it always seems to be changing. Isn't that daunting?
I think all science is changing, and for us to kind of say that, sports and sport performance science is the most dynamic and changing, would probably not be accurate, but I do feel that way. Because I've had experience as a player, and things have definitely changed a ton since then. Absolutely, and it does continue to change. We're using so much data now. We're doing so many different types of things. We're using motion trackers that have accelerometers and GPS tracking for the players to make sure that they're overdoing it. They're trying to manage player load. And funny story about Jayden Dalke, though, that actually came up today, actually, because he's the type of player that last Labor Day, he had to leave the game. The doctors wouldn't let him go back in the game because they highly suspected a fracture. And then so he drove to the hospital, got imaging done. The imaging came back negative. Nothing was broken, so he demanded to go back in the game. So he was wearing one of these trackers for the Labor Day game.
No.
And I was very confused in analyzing the data, and I was like, who the heck ran 38 miles an hour in the game? Because that's exceptionally fast. And I'm just looking at the data, so I had to comb through to attach a number to that data point, and it was Jayden riding in a car to the hospital and then coming back and finishing the game. So he still brags that he was still bragging that he was the fastest player on the team. So just a story that kind of brings a smile to people's faces when they're thinking about Jayden.
I know there was a conversation on the broadcast in that game against Hamilton. Luke Mullender claims that, there are some players on the field in that heat who can drop up to, what did he say, 13 pounds by sweating it out?
He figured 13.
Can you confirm or deny this? I'm not asking you to call out Luke Mullender. That would be an
I don't
interesting.
think Luke lost 13 pounds in the game.
Well, no, but
I've heard some extraordinarily high numbers.
Yeah?
Yeah. Yes. And I think,
man.
Before we came on air, we were talking about the game that we played in Las Vegas during U.S. expansion. And it was, 116 at kickoff. And there were players that were asking for an IV after the game. They actually needed an IV. And it was some scary situations for some of the larger individuals who dropped a ton of weight. And what that means went through the course of a game is that it is water weight, 100%. And so there are some very high numbers that get registered. And honestly, I wouldn't doubt that there's numbers that are higher than 13 pounds, to tell you the truth.
Wow.
Yeah.
I remember having a conversation during the World Cup, and you talk about some of the analytics, and sometimes the numbers baffle you. But again, the debate was on with me, and I don't know why people wanted to pick fights with me, but apparently that's the guy I am, telling me how much more soccer players are than football players and whatever, right? And so brought up the fact, well, a soccer player can run 12 or 13 kilometers in a game. And I'm like, don't you see the receiver guys that run the waggle all the time? And it probably is pretty mind-blowing what those numbers would be when you see the amount of physicality that an athlete in the CFL has to exert in a game because of field size, time, so on and so forth. Am I out to lunch?
Not at all. I think every sport has its own demands, right?
Oh, yeah.
And being a strength and conditioning professional, I would not train a soccer player anywhere close to the way that I would train a football player because the sport demands are that much different. I think that in terms of these are some interesting conversations that I've had, because Catapult is a worldwide company. It's a company that supplies our data trackers. And, I've had the opportunity to converse with some NFL people as well. And when they see the CFL receiver numbers in terms of how much mileage they're putting in any given practice or game, they're astounded. And that's a function of the pre-snap waggle, pre-snap movement up and down the line of scrimmage, running back to the huddle, the width of the field, the play clock being different as well. I mean, all those things lend itself to a different type of athletic performance fitness. And those guys are exceptionally fit. They would by far be the guys that put on the most mileage in a game or practice for sure. And, and add to that too, we're going to talk about other differences between the sports. All of these different metrics go into a metric conglomerate called player load. And it's basically not only just the volume, it's also the instances of high speed acceleration, of very quick decelerations. Those things are all super hard on the body. The hardest of which is getting hit. So there's also a player load of contact. And when a GPS or a accelerometer goes from 0 to 60 to 0, that usually means someone has gotten hit right down to the ground where they have another impact. And all those things contribute to this metric called player load, which is basically how hard the effort as a game was or a practice was on a player. So I don't think soccer players, despite how many times they fall to the ground grabbing their knee, have those same sort of contacts. It's car accident type situation, and it's tough. They're definitely colliding a lot for sure.
So you're coming off a bye, short week. Thursday's the game. It's at home, so you don't have to worry about the travel. But what's the messaging to the players, because you have to get back into game form as soon as possible, right? So what does that look like in comparison to, let's say, a longer week?
Well, again, everybody's approach is a little bit different, and I don't provide one sort of cookie cutter coach or approach to all the players, right? So oftentimes we have this sort of big whiteboard for communication. I know there's lots of different ways to communicate. A lot of them are electronic, but we kind of like the way that the players come together at a whiteboard and sort of like a water cooler at an office, right? And there's some visiting that happens, some team building that happens. But on that whiteboard, there are, anywhere from 2 to 4 options of paths that guys can take as a choice for any given week, all of which will help prepare them. Some of them, I think, are probably more comprehensive than others and maybe are a little bit better in my mind. But if that comes in conflict with a player who doesn't want to do that, then I've got to find a compromise. So those 4 different options, exist even on short weeks. Longer weeks give more opportunity for different options or maybe more work to be done. But the priority is what the guys are doing on the field, right? So anything that I do or put in front of the players has to enhance that, not detract from it. And so I have to be mindful of that. And some of that is how much work they're putting in the weight room and how much rest their body needs. Because again, some players exit a game with a whole lot of different loads, right?
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes those players have to be treated a little bit differently than players that didn't have those loads imposed upon them.
I know it's been a tremendously difficult 24 hours, but I do want to put a smile on your face and share a story with you from June.
Okay.
So for those that don't know, at practice, Dan Farthing works with some of the guys that have been nicked up and are trying to get back into the lineup. And it's not an easy workout that they do. There's a number of different things that they do. So sitting in the stands, there's a school tour that is coming through near the end of the workout. And so the teacher came over, we asked some questions, answered some questions, had a real good talk. And the best comment came from a young boy, grade 6. Again, anybody got any questions, you ask. And so the question and or comment from the 6th grader was, thinking that you were perhaps a teacher. Said, I bet you those guys were talking in his class.
Yes, nothing but punishment. Yeah, for sure. Detention. Detention with Dan.
Only if you get a smoothie after.
If they're good, for sure.
Coach of strength and conditioning, of course, Dan Farthing joining us live here in studio. Thank you so much for doing this. We know it's been a tough day and a half for the Riders organization, so we really appreciate it, and best of luck on Thursday.
Thank you very much for having me.
That, of course, was the Riders Coaches Show with Dan Farthing, coach with us, and it is brought to you by Steelcraft Doors. Made in Western Canada for Western Canada. Locations in Regina, Saskatoon, and Prince Albert, servicing all of Saskatchewan. So we are going to take a quick break and get us ready for our next guest. So coming up, well, Trottier is a name that you might recognize. It's well known in the hockey world, specifically here in Saskatchewan as well. You know, Hockey Hall of Famer Bryan Trottier, he's from Val-Marie, Saskatchewan. You might also recognize him for winning 6 Stanley Cups in his legendary NHL career. Also played in the WHL with the Broncos, Lethbridge Broncos, Swift Current Broncos, I should mention. 2 different ones. But now, the next generation of Trottiers joins the Regina Pats, and Parker Trottier recently signed with the Pats. Montreal Canadiens prospect. He joins us next, so hang tight. It's the Sports Cage on 620 CKRM and streaming at sportscage.com. Okay, Clutch Performer time. This is for Kellen Solier, Clutch Performers. Okay, so a couple here that I have. Shocker, I have more than one. I'll make it quick, though, because I don't want to keep our next guest waiting here too long. A new name etched into Saskatchewan golf history. 15-year-old Austin Nesbitt has become the youngest ever winner of the Saskatchewan Men's Amateur Golf Championship. So Pilot Butte product, playing out of Wascana Country Club, continues an impressive rise after already winning the Saskatchewan Under-13, Under-15 titles, along with Maple Leafs Junior Golf National Championship. So Nesbitt's victory puts him among the province's top amateur golfers and marks a huge milestone for Saskatchewan's brightest golf talents. At just 15, he is now a Saskatchewan, a provincial champion. So remember that name going forward.
I got it.
Austin Nesbitt. Now, I was also going to bring up New Zealand's Ryan Fox, but we already gave him his flowers off the top of the show.
True.
So I'm also going to go into something that you briefly touched on here while we were talking with Pete, the baseball fan. But the Blue Jays unveiling the Joe Carter statue. I thought this was so cool. The 1993 World Series winning home run. We've all heard the call 1,000 times. Touch 'em all, Joe. That walk-off blast, of course, securing that back-to-back championship win. So the 15-foot statue was celebrated over the weekend. They also had him go out, throw the first pitch, and they gave him his very own home run jacket that says "Touch 'em all, Joe" on the back with his 29 jersey. It was pretty cool. This is part of the Blue Jays' 50th anniversary celebrations, and nearly 30 members of those championship teams were back at the Rogers Center for the ceremony this weekend. It's just such a cool reminder of the greatest era in Blue Jays baseball.
Ooh, last year was pretty good. But it wasn't an era. I get it. If they go on a tear and make it back to the World Series, then we'll talk. Okay, fair enough. Can I quickly give a Clutch Performer same vein, though? I'll give it to Tom Cheek. The late Tom Cheek, radio announcer who did the Touch 'em all Joe home run call. And the best, having an opportunity to interview Mr. Cheek was amazing.
Wow, name dropping.
Yeah, and totally.
Sorry.
Making myself feel validated. Thank you. Now I feel shame. Anyways, as I move on with this story,
Sorry.
the touch 'em all Joe, that was never like an intended call. That was never a scripted thing. It was never anything that he had in his mind. The reason the touch 'em all Joe came about because Joe Carter, remember, was jumping and hopping around the bases. And it was more of him warning and reminding him, you got to touch all the bases because we need your run. And that was where
it needs to count.
Yeah, that was where touch 'em all Joe came. So it was a word of caution as opposed to an exclamation point or anything. So
Okay.
watch Tom Cheek's story.
Okay, I take back my comment about you name dropping.
Thank you.
Am I allowed to do that? It's not too late. Are we still friends?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Still friends on. Okay, we're good. Let's take a quick break. Colson, you're in charge here. Welcome back.
Fair enough. I already gave mine earlier to my wife, my clutch performer.
Okay.
Don't forget that.
Yeah,
one,
the,
Noah.
the very obvious one again.
Giving birth to a very
to our son. Yeah,
tall baby.
yeah. He's a tall and heavy little guy. But my sports clutch performer that I was going to give, sticking with the baseball vein, Phillies. I'm going to pronounce his name wrong, but Gabriel Riccone Jr. If you didn't see, he made a pretty good catch. And remembered mid-catch, oh yeah, I need my sunglasses on so I can see the ball. It takes the sunglasses off the hat, puts them on, dashes over, makes the catch.
That coordination to be able to take the sunglasses off the brim of your hat, putting them on your face while tracking the ball, and running at full tilt, that's impressive. That's pretty clutch.
Have you watched the Jays game this weekend? The Chicago White Sox first baseman had the old sunglasses on the bill of the cap, took them off, took them in his right hand, and he just held them and then missed the ball entirely because he didn't see where it went. Jays didn't do anything with a second chance, but I'm just saying.
Yeah, no, that's fair. Okay, so I think we are ready to go out to our next guest here. This is a new name to Regina hockey fans. Newly signed or recently signed Regina Pat, Montreal Canadiens prospect. Joining us on the Western Pizza Guest Hotline, perfect pizza, generous amount of toppings, and all the Greek favorites you love. We're pleased to be joined now by Parker Trottier. Thanks for doing this, Parker.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
Well, I guess it's been a pretty crazy summer for you, Parker. Drafted by Montreal, officially signed to a WHL scholarship and development agreement with our own Regina Pats. I'm sure it's been a bit of a whirlwind. Have you had a chance to take it all in yet?
A little bit. Past couple of weeks, I've been kind of really just taking it in. Being obviously drafted by Montreal was a great experience. Then having, literally I was at camp when I signed the contract with Regina, so it all came in at once. But no, it's been good so far.
What was going through your mind when you heard your name be picked by the Montreal Canadiens?
I was actually working, so I caddy at a country club, and I was like mid-loop and got a call from my mom, and I answered it, and she goes, "You got drafted." And I was kind of just like relieved, I guess, and kind of I don't know, and felt really good. Obviously an honor, and then I also got called by the people at Montreal.
Most important question: did you birdie the hole?
I don't think we did. No.
So tell me what signing with the Regina Pats means for you and your development moving forward.
It's obviously a great place. They've kind of given me a great rundown of what it's going to be like. Obviously, they didn't have a really coach for, I'd say, the first half of the off season. So once I signed, David Bell as a coach, I was kind of like, I wanted to get to know him as a coach and talk to him a little more about what his coaching experience has been like. And I feel like it's only been positive. So I got a good relationship with him. Gained a lot of trust. Obviously, Tristan over there at Regina also helped me out with my path, and I'm just looking forward to it, kind of.
So what are you expecting? Have you had an opportunity to visit Regina before?
I have not. So it's my only, it's the only thing I'm kind of worried about. I got a lot of, people that have been there for a while, though. I think Maddox Schultz, a 2010 that's, obviously lived there for his whole life. I think I can trust him and rely on him to, teach me the ways, even though I may be a little older.
I'll take you out for some famous Regina Western pizza.
Oh, is that
we're known for our Regina style pizza. You're going to have a slice when you get here.
Okay, sounds good.
Don't tell Coach I told you to do that, though. I might get in trouble.
I don't think there's any diets going on in Regina, but no.
Parker, one of the greatest things right now for young hockey players is the number of pathways that you can choose and options that are available. It also comes with the downside that there's a lot of options that are available that you have to weigh. Is it hard being a young hockey player at this time, trying to navigate what's right for you?
100%. There's so many different paths junior-wise. There's, the WHL, there's the USHL, there's, obviously the opportunity to go play college. These are all things that were crossing my mind while I was in my last season at NTDP. Obviously, I had my USHL experience with NTDP for these past 2 years. And so I kind of wanted to get a little bit outside my comfort zone, where it was like, I want to try something new, kind of get a taste of something else. And that's why I kind of chose the WHL over going another year in the USHL.
Some would say the strength of the schedule, the opportunity to play against faster, stronger, bigger players is an ideal thing for them. What, again, is, in addition to what you mentioned, what is the attraction of playing with the Regina Pats franchise and organization and moving into the Western Hockey League this year?
I kind of give it to my grandpa. He had a huge legacy in the hockey world, and I want to say also the WHL with the Broncos. And so, kind of getting a little bit of his kind of path, I'd say, is kind of something that kind of not encouraged me, but kind of helped me, decide on the WHL, I should say.
You can't escape the name. Obviously, people are going to draw the connections, with your grandpa, Brian Trottier. Do you feel it opens doors? Does it add pressure? Or is it something that you just kind of learned to embrace in your hockey career?
I feel like it's been something I've kind of just embraced. It's obviously, adds a little bit of pressure, but I kind of feel as if I'm a dark horse. He's got this, huge legacy and something that, not a lot of people can live up to. So I'm kind of coming in here, getting drafted in the 6th round, and someone that, I'm kind of just proving to myself and proving to other people why I should be fit in with his name, and kind of just, keep proving to myself and proving to everyone else.
Obviously, it's something you can't hide from, so maybe some rapid-fire Trottier questions for you. What's your favorite NHL team that he played for?
Pittsburgh.
Who has got a better shot, you or him?
I can't say those wooden sticks helped him with his shot back then, so I'd like to give it to me.
Stronger skater?
I think me.
Do you think he back-checked?
100%.
And the last one, maybe most importantly, who's a better singer?
Oh,
he is definitely. I think I've been told that by my mom and dad that I'm not the best singer. So,
have you heard him sing though? Like, it's amazing. His guitar skills, like it's awesome.
Yes, yeah, it really is.
So I will say, Parker, Pat's general manager Dale Durant has described you as fast, exceptionally intelligent. You compete hard. You're responsible in all 3 zones, and that those are all the little things that are going to help the Regina Pats be, victorious. Is that a valid description, or how would you describe your style of game?
I think that's very valid. I think I get most of those values from my grandpa, if I'm being honest. But no, I think that there's a little bit of inside me that kind of has a little bit more of an offensive game that I want to bring out in this WHL league, and I'm looking forward to, kind of just added more elements to my game that I haven't kind of, shown people yet.
So when you hear Western Hockey League, what style of hockey are you anticipating?
High, fast-paced hockey that, that people want to play in and, people want to, make it to.
Well, what can Pats fans expect to see from Parker Trottier when he comes here? What are we going to see from you on the ice? And what are we going to see from you off the ice? What are some of your interests?
I've heard the golf's pretty good. There's a couple courses that Maddox told me about. No, they're going to get 100% of me from every game, and then I'm also going to try and engage with the Regina fans and stuff like that outside of the arena.
Okay, so hockey idol growing up, and they can't share the same last name as you.
Cindy Crosby.
Good.
As a Habs prospect, the player on the team currently that you most associate your style of play with?
Slavkovsky.
Oh, good answer. Good answer. Yeah. Pre-game music, favorite song, pump-up song?
Dancing in the Dark.
Solid choice. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And then one thing that we don't know about you yet that we'll discover when we get here aside from golf. We know you like golf. We know you like hockey.
I want to know his handicap.
To be honest, it's not very good. But once you get on the course, a lot of times it's kind of easy to read greens and tell your guy where to hit it, I guess.
Dave just wants to make sure that he can beat you when you come here next time that there's a Pats golf tournament.
I just want to know what kind of caddy. Hey, I want to know what kind of player you're with, but then the caddy, right? Are you going to let your guy go walking in the tall grass or no?
No.
Okay, so he's volunteering to be your caddy is what I'm hearing now.
No. I don't think anybody wants that, especially Mr. Trottier.
Oh, my goodness. Hey, Parker, really appreciate this. Thank you for taking the time, and we can't wait to see what you do with the Regina Pats in the next season.
Thank you for having me.
All right, good luck on the course. Appreciate this.
Will do.
All right, we are going to take a quick break. That, of course, was Parker Trottier, newest member of the Regina Pats, and, of course, Montreal Canadiens prospect. Before we take a break here, I did just quickly want to mention one more time here, Saskatchewan Roughrider Foundation 50/50. Get in on it. Tens of thousands of dollars to be won every game, plus an early bird prize that's going to be coming up. Let me see here. The deadline, Wednesday, 10 o'clock. So if you want a chance to win a trip for two, Taste of the Maritimes for two. Whole lot of seafood included in this package. Return flights from Saskatchewan to Halifax, 7 nights hotel accommodations, some meals included as well. And if you don't want to travel, and I don't know why you wouldn't, maybe you're weird like Barney and don't like seafood, well, you can just take the money. $7,500. He admitted that on the SportsCage last week. He doesn't like seafood.
A stray for Barney on a Monday. Wow.
I'm allowed, right?
I'm not going to tell him. I'm just saying that.
This is kind of
I'm
on the
kind
radio.
of chuckling, yeah. Someone might mention that to him.
Maritimes tour for two. You want in on that? You want in on the jackpot? Hit them up, riders5050.ca. You have until Wednesday night at 10 o'clock. We are going to take a quick break right now. We will be back on the other side. It's the Sports Cage on the home of local sports on 620 CKRM and streaming at sportscage.com. Welcome back. Monday installment of the Sports Cage is brought to you by Sask Today, the province's leading news, agriculture, and sports portal. Again, sasktoday.ca. That's where you need to go. Okay, so I forgot to mention this, so I feel like we need to give people maybe a little bit of extra time. SaskTel Pick the Score is back. So you have an opportunity to not only win a $200 SaskTel gift card, but also tickets to the next Rider home game, which is coming up this Thursday at Mosaic Stadium. Oh, yeah, it's going to be a doozy. I think this one's going to be the marquee matchup of the week. I know it's the first game of week 8, but I think it's going to be the best one because it's the Edmonton Elk and Saskatchewan Roughriders. It's going to be a good game. If you want a chance to win, we just need you to predict what the final score will be. Do you think it's going to be a barn burner? Do you think it's going to be low scoring? What do you think? Also, keeping in mind, we're predicting like 31 degrees and partial sun. So it's going to be a bit toasty. 7 o'clock kickoff, however. Mm-hmm. So that'll be in our favor. And right now the breeze is looking pretty light. So all of that being said, text us your prediction, 306-936-6262, Prairie Line Rentals text line. Send in those predictions. And towards the end of the show here, Colson, who's back, he'll help us do the draw. Randomly, someone is going to get a chance to win, okay? 2 free tickets and, of course, a $200 SaskTel gift card to 306-936-6262. We good to go to Crofty? There we go. Western Pizza Guest Hotline. We're inviting on our next guest, Mr. Dan Croft, or Crofty, as we like to call him, from Croft Electric. How's it going?
I am good. How are you guys doing today?
You know what? I'm going to tell you this right off the top, is that it was great to see you at the 100 Years in One Night. Mm-hmm. And I did not recognize you with the cowboy hat on. Like, it looked perfect. Like, it's a natural fit, but I'm like, that's Dan Croft.
It took me a second, too, if I'm being honest. You looked spiffy, though, Crofty.
Well, thank you, guys. Thank you. We actually did our branding the next day, so that was it was good.
So that was kind of a legendary night. What did you think of it?
Pump our
we had a
tires,
great time.
Crofty.
It was wonderful. It was nice to see everybody. I'm not going to Jim Smalley and drop all the names of the people I talked to, but it was good. It was really good. I was very close I am very close with the King family, with Jeff. So it was great to see him. I played hockey with him, actually. I played some Monarch back in the day with him. So good to catch up with him. So, yeah, it was an awesome night.
And it was iconic, I thought, in the fact that, partnerships, right?
Yeah.
We have the opportunity to represent great partnerships, and Dan Croft and Croft Electric, you are one of them, and we get to brag about the great work that you do. And I guess, what more can I say in the fact that thank you for trusting us with that message.
Yeah, and thank you guys too. That's it. It's a partnership both ways. We have done some work for you guys over the years as well. So it's a great partnership. We're big fans of CKRM. I'm a personal big fan of CKRM, as I just said. Big fan with everything you guys do and what you stand for. I like the breakdown, and I can't remember which one of them described CKRM as country music, rural, and sports. And it's just a perfect fit. And I'm like, that's exactly me too, right? Country music, rural, and sports.
I think that might have been the Lieutenant Governor.
Oh, there you go.
Never thought that you would have been quoting her on the show, I bet. Hey?
Look at you name dropping now, Teagan.
Oh, okay. Crofty, we got to throw the ball over to your court. You got to let us know what is happening over at Croft Electric these days. Customer preferred program. I should probably be getting signed up for that sooner rather than later, hey?
100%. 100% is, we're in, let's call it the dog days of summer. This is the time, to start thinking about, unfortunately, just thinking about it, but those fall and winter projects and getting ahead of them. Because the way for us to be more cost effective and, save our customers, the bottom line, which is the dollar, is to get us out early, get us out there, get us see your project, let us order material ahead. Let's not, order in a rush. Let's plan the project, plan it right, do it right. And make sure we get it done right.
And of course, you always have your Tip Tuesdays and all the good stuff happening on social media where we can follow along, right?
For sure. Yes. Please follow us on all socials. We have our Tip Tuesdays, which, gives you some tips about, electrical tips. Sometimes it's just good safety tips. Then we have our Friday funnies. We try and end the week with a little bit of humor and make everybody laugh. So, yeah.
Whether it's a service call or a quote or, maybe you want to talk about financing for any projects between commercial, residential, industrial, or farm, we can find you on your website, of course, croftelectric.com. And then what's that phone number again, Crofty?
Yeah, give us a call at 306-586-1333. And, yeah, please check out our website at www.croftelectric.com.
Well, thank you very much, Dan Croft Electric. We'll catch up again later in the week.
Yeah, you guys have a good show. It's a tough day, but have a good show.
No, I appreciate that. Thank you very much, Dan Croft.
You bet. Bye-bye.
Of course, he's joining us on the Western Pizza Guest Hotline. Now, we are going to take a quick break here. We're going to come back with your sports ticker, but don't worry, still to come before the end of the show here. We are actually going to be getting the new interim coach for the Regina Red Sox. Brayden Cobb is going to be joining the program a little bit later on for that Regina Red Sox report around 5:30. Prior to that, we're also going to be catching up with Darian Durant. He's coming up after the 5 o'clock news. And then, of course, we're going to hear more from Saskatchewan Roughriders who were available to the media earlier today after a canceled practice yesterday and after, of course, the news broke yesterday that Jayden Dalke passed away in a 2-vehicle fatal collision on a Saskatchewan roadway. 2 people, of course, passed away in that incident. So we'll be back here in just a bit. This is the Sports Cage. It's streaming at 620 CKRM, our YouTube channel, and sportscage.com. Of course, the Saskatchewan Roughriders announced yesterday that team captain, Jayden Dalke, passed away following a 2-vehicle fatal collision on a Saskatchewan highway. As more information comes to be, visit sastoday.ca, and of course, sportscage.com will have the latest for you as well. The Toronto Argonauts have signed CFL pass rusher Sean Lemon to the team. Also, the Stampeders have released American defensive back Benny Sapp III and American receiver Rashad Owens. The Riders, on the other side here, have added some depth on defense. They've signed American defensive lineman Derek Robertson and defensive back Millard Bradford. Western Canadian Baseball League action. The Millers travel to Medicine Hat to face the Mavericks tonight. The Weyburn Beavers and Swift Current to take on the 57s in a doubleheader. WCBL All-Star Game, 5 players from the Red Sox were representing Team East. And, of course, they helped lead them anyway to a 9-2 victory over Team West in Sunday's All-Star Game at Cairns Field. And Major League Baseball action. Toronto Blue Jays taking on the Tampa Bay Rays. FIFA final. Spain is back on top of the World Soccer stage. Of course, they were champions after defeating Argentina 1-0 in the final. Second ever Men's World Cup title. U.S. Open. New Zealand. Ryan Fox delivered one of the biggest shots of his career to win his first major. And that, of course, was a look at your sports ticker, brought to you by Extreme Hockey and Sport. Join the celebration at Bauerfest this Saturday at Extreme Hockey. Come out for lunch, check out the complete Bauer lineup for the new season, and meet some of the Regina Pats from 11 until 1. Plus, don't miss your chance to win great Bauer prizes and giveaways. And we are going to take a quick break here. We'll do the news on the other side. Darian Durant and your Red Sox report, sprinkle of the day, and more. Hang tight. It's the Sports Cage, and it's streaming at sportscage.com. Well, thank you for being here. It's the Monday installment of the Sports Cage. I'm Teagan Witko with your voice of the Saskatchewan Roughriders, Mr. Dave Thomas. And Colson Schultz is back with us after his paternity leave. We're excited to have him back, and I'm sure he's already sick of us. So thanks for being here, buddy.
Stating it like it is right there.
Well, I've worked with Colson long enough. I just know these things. You can join in the conversation anytime on the Prairie Land Rentals text line 306-936-6262. Red Sox report still to come, sprinkle of the day, and more from Saskatchewan Roughriders media availability earlier in the day. But right now, we should probably head out on the Western Pizza guest hotline. Perfect pizza, generous amount of toppings, and all the Greek favorites you love. Let's get doubles linked up here.
It's time for Double Talk with Saskatchewan Roughrider legend Darian Durant. Double Talk is brought to you by Dutch Agriculture. Price freeze on openers till end of July, plus save the freight. DutchOpeners.com. Dutch Agriculture, on farm for you.
Welcome, Darian. Appreciate you being here today. I'm sure you've heard, has been a difficult couple of days, difficult day and a half here for Rider Nation and the entire Saskatchewan Roughrider organization. Jayden Dalke's passing, of course, he was voted team captain, described by his teammates as the heart of that locker room. Now, from your perspective, I'm sure this one hits especially hard for you as well as someone who has led, a championship team. The void something like that can leave behind for this group of players.
Yeah, absolutely. This is just so sad. I mean, and you talk about a guy that everyone loves. When you're a special teams player and you're one of the best and you're a leader of that group, you just seem to gravitate towards everyone in the locker room, right? There's no one specific position group or group of guys that you tend to lean towards. It's just like you're a friend of everyone. So this is a horrible time for the Riders. I feel so bad for his family, friends, everyone associated with him, and like to send my condolences to his family, and I wish them nothing but the best during this tragic time.
The entire CFL community offered their condolences and support, of course. I mean, even his former teammate, A.J. Allen, he was throwing up the 3-8 during that game after he recorded a sack last night, not making it about him. Now, when it comes to the actual Riders players, though, how difficult is it to overcome that mental hurdle? They're still playing a game on Thursday, right, Darian?
Yeah, I mean, I think it has to be so tough for his locker mates. I mean, the guys who sit right beside him in the locker room, the meeting rooms. I mean, just his presence. I don't know him personally, but I hear he's very charismatic, just keeps a smile on his face whenever he's in the building. So it's definitely going to be tough for the guys who sat next to him in meetings, who's always around him. That empty chair is going to be, I just hate speaking on things like this, man. I couldn't imagine walking into a locker room with a guy you just battled with before the bye week and to come back and his seat's empty. It's just horrible.
Darian, is football or can football be therapy in this? Every athlete has to go through adversity, not near at this level like the Saskatchewan Roughriders are going through, but somebody may have a sick parent or a sick child at home, or there's so many other things, and we sometimes as fans look at the players as robots. All they have to do is play football. Is football a release, though, from everyday life sometime, and the fact that you can go and focus on something else?
Absolutely. You need that. I mean, you need that opportunity to go just take your mind off of whatever may be going on in real day-to-day situations. Go and try to play a game, something that can make you happy. Pick up your mood. You need things like that for everyone, and especially the guys that are closer to him. You just want to go out there on the field, run around, not think about what's going on off the field, but just go and play a game. At the end of the day, they're all grown men who play a game for a living. So sometimes you just want to take all the tough things out of your mind, out of your conscience, and just go out there and play. So it's definitely therapy for the guys.
And the fact that the Riders are coming back from a bye week and it's bang, bang, like they're playing right away, is that a benefit so that, again, everybody is going to grieve in a different way, and not to minimize anything, but is it an advantage perhaps that you get right back into a game?
Yeah, I think so. I think as sad as this may sound, you want to go ahead and get the memorial tribute out of the way. You want to make sure that you say your final farewell to him at Mosaic Stadium, and it's better to get that done sooner than later. You just don't want it to just play out. If the game was on Sunday, you have all these days to think about it. What's it going to be like pregame? You just extra days to cry, extra days to grieve. You don't really want to do that. You want to go out there and play right away. So I think it's great that the game is on Thursday this week and that the guys can, just say their final farewells and just get out there and play a game for them.
So well said. And of course, if you want to find out the latest, go to sasktoday.ca or sportscage.com. for all the details.
So now let's turn the page a little bit and talk about, the game itself. Let's rewind a little bit to Week 7 in the CFL. We'll get to what's ahead for the Riders here in a little bit. But first, I think we got to start with a record that was broken, Darian, one that you may have held. Davis Alexander in that 38-32 win over Calgary. You held that record for consecutive pass attempts without an interception, 323 games, which is absolutely outstanding. If I'm not mistaken, there's a full season in that time frame. But he just beat you. What are you seeing in Davis Alexander to claim, that spot in the record book? What is making him so successful right now?
Well, first and foremost, congrats to him. I mean, if there's a guy that I would like to see break that record, it's him. I mean, he's the next up-and-coming star. He's there already. So don't let me say up-and-coming. He's there already. So he's just a beast. And I think he just ran into the perfect situation with coaches, with Coach Moss, Jason Moss, former quarterback, Anthony Calvillo, his OC, who's a former quarterback. He just ran into the perfect situation of guys that, as far as getting tutored, the experience, everything you could want as a young up-and-coming quarterback, you have that as far as your staff goes. And then out on the field, he's just a beast, man. There's nothing he can't do. He can extend plays. He has one of the bigger arms in the league, so he can make any throw on the field. So I just enjoy watching him play. He reminds me so much of a young me, just a stocky guy, strong guy, just going out there, running around, making plays. And, he's going to be fun to watch as the season progresses.
Of course, the record broken was consecutive passes without throwing an interception. Darian, I like to pride myself in the fact that I cheer for people as opposed to cheering against anyone, but I'll tell you the truth, I was cheering against a lot on that one, just hoping there'd be one interception thrown. Was there a little piece of you that was in there too?
Of course. Now, as they were talking about the completions as it was leading up to that, the one that actually broke the record, of course, a little piece of me was like, all right, throw you one here. All right, don't get it. But at the end of the day, man, like I said, who better to get the record than him? He's the next star, in my opinion, and front runner for MOP this year. So kudos to him and congrats to him for getting it done.
When you look at Montreal and the Alouettes, I mean, they're 5-1. They're top of the East right now, but some are still saying maybe they haven't quite played their best football yet. I mean, especially when you consider there's a few more things that they could sync up on that offense. But is that a scary thought for the rest of the league?
Yeah, it is. I think most people just haven't seen this Noel Thorpe defense play up to its capabilities or what they're used to playing like, and I think that there's just so many new faces over there on defense that they're just kind of getting used to the system, trying to catch up a little bit. But thankfully, this offense has just been balling. Davis Alexander is going crazy. They have the top 2 receiving leaders in the league. And then, Theus, a running back, he's just shown that he is a game changer himself. I think he had over 120 yards on 18 carries this past weekend. So this offense is just balling, led by Calvillo and Jason Moss. And I think that the real reason why people are just haven't really check the box on Montreal yet is because they're waiting on this defense to kind of catch up with the offense.
What's your read on Calgary from that game? It looks to me if they just set their alarm clock for the right time, they had a good opportunity to win.
Yeah, this is like the third or fourth time this season they just been so lethargic early in games, have gotten behind early, and have made it, interesting in the fourth quarter. But I think VA said it perfectly in his post game interview. He's just like he's got to do something. He's got to, maybe switch up his routine, get to the stadium a little bit earlier, wake up early or something. He's got to do something to get going early because he's playing very good football late in games, but it's just early on, he just seems to not be able to get it going early. So Calgary, they look good. I mean, they're in every single game, but all that matters is the W at the end of the day, and it's just been hard for them to get that.
Post-game, VA also pushed back on the notion of that. That fumble at the end of the fourth quarter was not the straw that broke the camel's back, that it goes back further in the game than just that one play. Would you tend to agree?
Of course. I mean, if you're a fan, you're going to look, and if a play happens in the fourth quarter that's a game-changing play, then that's just the one you remember because it's the latest game-changing play to happen. But throughout the entire game, first quarter on, there are huge plays that could swing the momentum, that could change the game. So, when you don't get it done early, you have opportunities to score. You may miss a field goal here or there early in the game. It matters. So he's right, man. You can't just pinpoint one single play, even though it was huge. You just can't point your finger at one single play and say that was the game deciding play.
Should we talk a little Ottawa-Winnipeg? This one's kind of juicy. I love the storylines in this one. Drew Brown at the helm against his former team. 17-point deficit erased. That was just cinema. Plus, we also got to see the new overtime rules at play. But what I want to focus on is Ottawa continuing to find a way to lose close games. 0-6 on the season now. At what point does this start shaking the confidence of this team, Darian?
I think that did it. I mean, to be up against Winnipeg, a guy you let go for basically nothing, and to be in control, and you're going down in the third quarter, you're about to score. And let me say this. I think the Saskatchewan Roughriders and Tommy Stevens are showing the rest of the league how important it is to have a guy that can get 1 yard at any given situation, because in that game, there were like 3 or 4 instances where neither team could get a yard. And, those were definitely game-swinging, game-changing plays, especially for Ottawa to get down to the 1 yard line and not be able to score. That's just huge. But, I mean, it just has to break their back to have your former quarterback come in, get a win in your place in a game you had total control over for the majority of the game. Drew Brown just showed that, he's a fighter. He shouldn't have been let go so easily. And hell of a game for him and being able to come back in such a tough environment.
I couldn't reference this in the medical encyclopedia, but I'm sure there's a malady called "here we go again"-itis. Do the Ottawa Red Blacks suffer from that, and is it a true thing?
It is. I mean, it seems like it, right? I mean, they've been in control of a couple games here and just can't seem to finish. And then this game especially, I think they were up 19-7 in the third quarter, going down, had 3 plays from the 2 yard line and couldn't get it in. And then they get down on the next possession or a possession right after in scoring position, and then throws an interception. So definitely, you can just sense the air go out of the team, the fans, the "here we go again" attitude. You could, even though you didn't hear it out loud, you could definitely look at a guy and see that he was saying it to himself. So it's definitely a case of the field going on in Ottawa right now.
Now, speaking of books, I also was able to subscribe to the unwritten rule book, and it says here, you can't lose your job because of injury. Could Zach Collaros lose his job, though, if Drew Brown takes off? Let's face it, he wasn't A-plus material against Ottawa, but he got the win.
Man, this is so tough. I mean, you're talking about a future Hall of Famer, a multiple Grey Cup winner. I won't say that yet because I don't think Drew has been consistent enough to where you can just say, okay, he's better than Zach. He should play before Zach. But I think he's definitely raising some eyebrows, and you can definitely pose that question because, I don't think anyone thought that with Zach going down, Winnipeg could continue to have success. And they're quietly sitting at 4-2. No one's talking about them, and I think that's the way they would like it as well. So, just huge move by Winnipeg to get even bring Drew Brown in. Basically stole him from Ottawa for next to nothing. And you can see how huge he's been for the Bombers in, being able to get these wins in Zach's absence.
TSN Farhan Lalji is reporting that Nathan Rourke, his shoulder injury is going to be weeks and not months, but still weeks is a long time for a team that's 1-4 in the BC Lions. Do you anticipate them doing something after Chase Bryce tosses 4 interceptions? And the name that has been mentioned to me is maybe you look at trying to get Nick Arbuckle out of Toronto.
Yeah, I think you have to do something. I mean, it's so hard for young guys to come in with no experience and have success in this league. It's just rare. And, even with Chase getting his opportunity, when you go out there and you throw 4 picks, I mean, he kind of looked like he was out of place a little bit, throwing some of his passes up into double and triple coverage. He just doesn't seem to have the timing down right now. So if BC would like to, survive this little stretch without Nathan Rourke, then either they're going to have to go get a vet, or Nathan's going to have to make a miraculous recovery and do something special to get back on the field, because I don't see Bryce being the answer for BC, especially after throwing four picks. But we'll see. Edmonton's defense is one of the top in the league, and it wasn't an easy job for him to come in after one possession, and that's not easy for anyone. So we'll see.
One of the other things that stood out to me, obviously, the quarterback conversation was a big point of discussion after the 1917 win for Edmonton, but the Lions have somehow seemed to figure out the run game when it comes to Edmonton. I don't know what it is. Maybe you can break this down for me, but they held off Rankin. They were able to stunt his production this season so far in their first 2 matchups. Is there anything there that maybe the Saskatchewan defense can maybe borrow from that blueprint when it comes to their game against the Elk this week?
Yeah, I think so. I think the way Ryan Phillips designs this defense, it's tough for a quarterback like Cody. And whenever it's hard for Cody to throw, now you can focus on the run game and being able to stop Rankin. And I think that's what BC did. So I think if this Rider defense can look at some of the coverages that may have confused Cody a little bit, made it tough for him, that gave them the ability to load the box to be able to stop the run, that'll be good. It's just matchups, right? It's a game of chess. Sometimes other coordinators may get the best of certain quarterbacks and vice versa. So I just think in a matchup situation like Edmonton versus BC, I think it's harder for Cody to throw against those DBs, that system. So that allowed the defenders from BC to load the box and focus on the run game.
You jumped right into my next question. We've often talked about the number of offensive coordinators that you had in your career. Trey Ford gets the start in Hamilton. I don't know what we were expecting, if we expected as much RPO as we saw, as much of quarterback running as we saw, which seems to be completely anti-Scott Milanovic. As an offensive coordinator, are you working your offense around the personnel you have, or are you making your personnel work the offense that you have?
I think at this point, especially with Scott being the veteran that he is, years and years in the game, different quarterbacks he's coached, I think you kind of have to cater the system around Trey Ford's strengths. I mean, he's not going to change at this point. He's not going to become a Ricky Ray or Anthony Calvillo by tomorrow with his accuracy. So you have to work with what he has and what he does best. And I was very impressed, actually, with him from the pocket. I think the lines, the route concepts that Milanovic drew up for Trey Ford, to his strengths, actually. And then when it wasn't there and the blitz came, he was able to pull down and use his legs. That's something you just can't teach or coach. So I think Scott's doing a good job of kind of managing Trey's strengths and not putting him in harm's way, not making him read too many defenders on the field, because I think that can get him in trouble because he's not a true pocket quarterback. But I love what they're doing with him. It's only been one game, but so far so good. And we'll see if they can continue this momentum going forward.
So whether you're Trey Ford or Darian Durant, you have to have pocket awareness and a pretty good internal clock. Where does that training come from? Is that film?
I just think it's instinctive. I think, when you get into the game situations or you've played behind some bad old lines in your past, we're not pointing fingers at anyone. But, I mean, I just think over time you learn you get experience. It's something that becomes instinctive for you to know when to sit in the pocket, to know when you may need to get out a little bit quicker than usual. So he's good at it, man. And I like to see him build on that pass game a lot more so he doesn't have to rely on his legs. But, I mean, over 200 yards passing, 100 yards rushing, I mean, you're basically getting everything out of him that you can. So, you have to continue doing what you've been doing.
Okay, this week, Saskatchewan, Edmonton, Thursday night, Mosaic Stadium. In my brain, that's the marquee matchup of the week. Do you see a different one?
There's no better matchup of the week for sure. 5-1, 4-1, two of your top defenses in the league. This is just set up for a great early week matchup. I mean, what a week. There's games 4 nights in a row, starting with the biggest Western matchup of the week, the 2 best records in the league. So looking forward to this one. This shouldn't let us down at all.
Would you venture a guess as to what the final score is going to be? We're taking texts from people right now. You don't have to. I don't mean to put you on the spot.
No, I like jumping out there. I like jumping out there on a limb and, predicting score. So I think it'll be a tight game. I think the Riders will pull it out. So I'll go 30-27 Riders.
Okay. 30-27 Riders.
She's writing it down,
I'm
Darian.
writing it down.
We're in trouble now.
Well, he's entered for SaskTel Pick the Score now. He can win a $200 SaskTel gift card and maybe tickets to the next Rider home game. We'll get him down here.
Well, let's go.
Yeah, let's go. Sorry,
when
Dave.
you're preparing for back-to-back games, so right, back-to-back with Edmonton, is it different preparation? Because obviously you want to throw wrinkles that they haven't seen on film before, but maybe you also want to keep some stuff back because you're going to be playing them again in a week. What's the back-to-back mentality of preparation when you go into something like this against Edmonton, or of course we'll have the Winnipeg situation later this year?
Well, at this point, it's about getting a win. I mean, both teams sitting atop of the conference, fighting it out for first place. There's nothing you want to hold back. Especially, you just don't know the weather either, right? It could get a perfect weather game this week, and then next week could be a monsoon of rain, and then you won't be able to use anything. You're just holding on to plays for no reason. So you have to go out there, try to separate yourself in the division. You have to get this win, and this goes for both teams. You can't hold anything back. This could definitely be a playoff preview early in the season. So I think both coaches, both teams will empty every bullet they have in the clip to do everything they can to get this win.
Lock it in. Darian, 30-27. He's taking the Riders this Thursday here in Regina.
And we're not holding anything back.
No, not at all.
Not at all.
Appreciate your time as always, Darian. Thanks so much for doing this, and we'll talk again next week.
Sounds good.
That, of course, is Darian Durant joining us on the Western Pizza Guest Hotline, as he does every single Monday, and we appreciate it. Yes, you can also enter to win those tickets to the next Rider home game and a $200 SaskTel gift card. You can copy Darian if you want. I won't tell him. 306-936-6262 is the Prairie Land Rentals text line if you would like to text in those score predictions now, but you have to do it before the end of the show here, okay? 306-936-6262. Score prediction, chance to win $200 for SaskTel, and tickets to the next game. Prairie Land Rentals text line, of course, is brought to you by Prairie Land Rentals. From small power tools to skid steers, they probably have what you need. Deal directly with the owner at 600 Albert Street. Your sports ticker is going to be coming up here momentarily, and then Brayden Cobb is going to be joining us coming up next year for your Red Sox Report. This is the SportsCage. It's on the home of local sports on 620 CKRM, YouTube, and streaming at sportscage.com. Okay, we need to take a look at your sprinkle of the day. You still have your sports ticker coming up here in just a little bit. But of course, your sprinkle of the day is brought to you by Sports Select. Getting in on more of the sports action is as easy as playing at sportsselect.com. You can go to sportscage.com to do your research if you want.
Play the trivia. Why not?
Yeah, there you go. See, brush up on your knowledge. Simply make your picks online, get that QR code, lock it in at your local Lotto Spot retailer. You see the signs all over town. They're all over the place. You can also go fill out the little slips in store. That's cool too. Every bet is 100% legal with a chance of winning cash in hand. Sports Select. When you're ready to play, bet on the original. Must be 18 plus, and you must play responsibly. I think because we were just talking about it with Darian, we got to look at the futures. We got to look at the CFL, and we got to look at the lines for the Riders and Elk. You're laughing every time I say Elk. I'm refusing.
You and Luke are Elk.
Yes, absolutely, because it's grammatically incorrect, although most sports teams are. I mean, you look at the Leafs, it should be Leaves, It's
Yes.
Leafs. I could go. Don't get me down that rabbit hole.
Fair.
Let's not
I'll
do
just
that.
be quiet here and just happily smile.
So,
Futures.
regular season. Oh, I guess it was it this week? Sports Select, yeah. Okay, I'm jumping too far ahead of myself. I keep forgetting it's a Thursday game. That could be my issue. So we're going to look at football here. Sports Select
There you
website.
go.
There we go. Okay, so Pro Line. I don't know what I want to take here. I will say the CFL has definitely caught on, and they're bumping up the over-under on games lately.
57.5.
Yeah, 57.5. I think I'm going to be taking the under on that one.
Yeah. You know what? Edmonton plays the Riders the last 3 years really, really tough.
Yep.
Justin Rankin can go off, especially at Mosaic Stadium.
Mm-hmm.
But
I think the defense is going to be showing up for both teams. So that's why I'm thinking maybe it's not going to be as high scoring.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think the under is wrong. I'll say that.
What do you think about the Pro Line here?
Riders 4.5 point favorites.
Yeah. Or the point spread there. That's a point spread.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah.
But yeah, 4.5. What would you take on that one?
Again, it's gonna. I don't see
you
it
think it's
being
gonna
a
be that
blowout.
tight?
I think it's going to be a tight game.
So
I
you
think
would
it'll be
take-
decided by a touchdown. Yeah.
Okay. So you're going to take that one there. Obviously, you're going to take the Riders in this game, right?
Who else?
So you're taking the Riders on the point spread, and then we got to take the under on this one. Ooh, let's just quickly slide down to Stamps and Bombers.
See, that one blows my mind.
That's-
59.5. Probably
Yeah.
they're thinking that Calgary will get 56 of those points.
You think?
I really like Calgary's offense. They had to play
their
against
offense is
Montreal
good.
back to back,
True.
and
But you're
Winnipeg
going
didn't
up the
look
newly
great.
minted Drew Brown.
Well, I haven't anointed him, but the
You were
ceremony's
talking
coming.
about him like you were.
We've got a scepter, if that means anything.
Okay, fair enough. So point spread 1.5. Winnipeg the favorite.
Yeah. Winnipeg, as Darian was bang on.
Yeah.
They're the quietest good team in the league right now.
Well, and I think it's because everybody was just anticipating that they wouldn't be good this season because they had some, woes last year.
Well, and when Collaros went down,
Yeah.
talk about timing.
Mm-hmm.
When the Bombers went out and got Drew Brown, right, the week before, Zach Collaros goes down. It's incredible timing,
Yeah,
right?
picked him up for pocket change too, so that decision's looking really
Well, it's still a
good.
first-round pick, but yeah.
Well, I guess.
Understood.
Yeah. I don't know. At the end of the day, that's going to be an interesting storyline to watch this week as well. I always like those good West Division showdowns.
Oh,
you know?
yeah. Well, the BC one is going to be interesting to watch, too, to see how long and how much trust. Because the Lions do have to sign a quarterback this week. Now, I haven't looked on the transaction wire yet to see whether or not they have. But
Argos picked up Lemon.
yeah.
Yep.
So Sean Lemon goes to Toronto.
Mm-hmm.
Again, I'm serious. If I was Toronto, I don't know that Toronto is 100% okay with the depth of their quarterback position behind Arbuckle. So you've got Chad Kelly, then you got Nick Arbuckle.
Yeah.
And
Hey,
I
Arbuckle
think
went to the Grey Cup with him.
won them a Grey Cup.
Yep.
Played every game essentially last year. Now the results weren't great at times, but he's got experience. He knows what to do, and
He knows the scheme.
so I'm just really curious. I'm curious whether BC would inquire about his availability. I have no idea if they would.
Very interesting.
But the other name that's kicking around is the other guy that they had last year, and Jeremiah Masoli. Now I don't believe Jeremiah has officially announced his retirement, but is he in shape? Is he willing to go? He knows the system.
So you're saying there's a chance.
I'm telling you, there's a chance, Teagan.
That is your sprinkle of
So
the day.
you're telling me there's a chance?
How do you have that all ready to go? It's your first day back. Oh my goodness. Give him a raise.
Yeah.
I don't know if you're the one that hands them out. I'll take one too, but holy, Colson's on it. I love it. Okay, let's not keep our guests waiting any longer. Western Pizza guest hotline. We'll head out in a second here with Brayden Cobb. It is your Red Sox report. Oh, he wasn't ready for this one though.
Oh man.
Oh, I take it back.
There it
No raise
goes.
for you.
All the way down there.
Showcasing the boys of summer. Time for another edition of the SportsCage Regina Red Sox Report on 620 CKRM. Brought to you by Unifor 594. Energy workers. Putting the care in career since 1942. Safety is our business.
Well, thank you very much, Brayden Cobb, for joining us on the Western Pizza Guest Hotline. Of course, serving now as the interim field manager for the Regina Red Sox. Did you have a chance to go up to Saskatoon for the All-Star game this weekend, Brayden?
Yeah, thanks for having me on. It's been a busy 72 hours. I ended up actually having to be the head manager for the All-Star team as well since we won the championship last year. So a lot of things have been kind of thrown at me in a short amount of time.
Including this interview. I know you agreed to this pretty last minute, so we appreciate you taking the time.
Yeah, of course. No worries.
So 5 Red Sox players selected to represent the East Division at the All-Star game that you were just describing there. And they come out on top with a huge win over the West. What does that say about, even just the 5 players that you have the pleasure of working with day in and day out, watching them, on that big stage All-Star weekend? What does that say about the talent level with the Regina Red Sox within this organization?
Yeah, it's always awesome to be able to see our guys be recognized and then be able to kind of show off their skills on a stage like that. We have plenty of talent on our roster, and I think we could have even had more than 5 guys this year. I know our record hasn't shown as good as it possibly could, but there's a ton of talent on this team, and those 5 guys kind of proved it. We had Keegan Baker start for us on the mound for Team East, and he went 3 up, 3 down like it was easy for him, and 2 of our hitters, they did well. They scored runs, hit RBIs, and those are against the best pitchers from the other side of the divisions too, right? So it's nice to be able to show what we have.
So as you're stepping into this, interim role as the field manager here with the Regina Red Sox, what do you feel that you bring to the team in terms of uniqueness in your coaching style?
Yeah, I'm a big communicator. I like to make sure it's kind of known to the players what I expect and what I want them to do. I like to have meetings with them and kind of sit down with them one-on-one even and just kind of say, like, where do you think you're at? Where do we think you're at? Where we want you to be? How we can get there together so we can try to maximize every kind of skill out of every person to get where we need to be and at this point make the playoffs and do what we did last year and get hot at the right time. And I think I've been around now for 3 years with this team, so I know a lot of the players already, so it was easy. I'm not a totally new face for them to kind of bring in, so it's nice for them to kind of already know what I'm about and know how I like things, so it's kind of an easy transition for them.
Brayden, you're 16-23, tied for 3rd with Medicine Hat in the East Division of the WCBL, going out on an 8-game road trip that starts tomorrow in Medicine Hat. Obviously, like you said, the last 72 hours have been bonkers for you. What do you do to try to change, or do you change a lot in that short amount of time to get ready for this key juncture in your season?
Well, we are pretty well good on a 3-game win streak right now, so I think things kind of are turning a corner already before we're heading on this road trip. Guys have kind of come together, and they're kind of more taking a more team approach to the game, moving runners over when guys are on base and such, instead of just trying to do things for themselves, which is really starting to help us win ball games, playing the game the right way. So I think this road trip is going to be a strong test to see kind of how we can bounce around with travel and all that kind of stuff and not sleeping at home, and see if we can manage all that and kind of make sure we win ball games. But as long as we stick together as a team and make sure we're playing the game the right way, I don't see why it's not a successful business trip for us.
You mentioned the 3-game win streak, but you look at some of the defeats this year, and there's so many one-run games that your team has been in. Some would say that's battle-tested. Others would say it's hard luck. What say you?
Yeah, I'd say some of it's luck, but a lot of it's just we haven't been playing the game the right way all season long. We're not doing the little things right where we need to move runners over to get that extra 1 run, say in the 5th inning of a ball game. So I think now that we can just really focus on doing things the right way and the small things, that those 1-run games will start falling our way.
So what do you think in terms of, you come off a league championship in 2025. You have 5 players who are representing your club at the All-Star game and the East Division team What does that do in terms of recruiting, especially now that you guys are making that playoff push?
Yeah, it's definitely a good selling point to kind of bring new guys in for next year. We just brought in a couple more for this year, and being able to start off the conversation with as the reigning champions really helps guys want to come see what we're all about and see what they can help us do and see where they fit into what we're doing. And yeah, it helps out quite a bit to be able to say that we have those kind of players already in-house. Everybody wants to play with the best because playing with the best brings out the best and helps you become a better player overall. So it helps us out a lot.
What characteristics would you use to describe, or hope would be used to describe, a Brayden Cobb coached team?
Hard-nosed. I like to play the game the right way. I know summer ball, some teams don't believe in, say, bunting or hitting runs. They just want guys to be getting swings. But I always believe in playing the game the right way, and that includes small ball. You got to be able to bunt, sack guys over to different bases. You got to be able to hit and run to get guys to different bases and play the game the right way. Got to be able to generate offense in this league. You've run into a lot of good pitchers, so runs can sometimes be hard to come by. As we've seen earlier in this season, we were not scoring as many runs as we need to, but I think as we go on here, the runs are going to start improving as we do things the right way to make sure we get guys into scoring positions so we get more chances to capitalize.
You know, we just had Parker Trottier joining us on the show a little bit earlier on, who is going to be new to Regina, joining the Pats. But I'm curious because, Brayden, you just brought up that you have a couple of new players that are going to be joining your organization. And I'm curious, what is the Welcome to Regina starter pack when Regina Red Sox players come into the Queen City? Are you sending them for Regina-style pizza? What's the go-to for these new recruits?
Yeah, so they just got in this week. So the biggest thing we've told them to do is we have an off day Thursday, so they definitely better get down to that Rider game and see what Saskatchewan's all about. That's the hottest ticket around and shows off the love for sports that we have here in Saskatchewan. And I know a lot of the players love taking them to Leopold's and having some food over there. It's always a good spot for them to go after games.
Did I just hear Coach say he's buying?
Oh,
I'm not sure. Maybe I'm putting words in his mouth. Obviously, you mentioned again, I go back to the 72 hours, Brayden, that you talked about. What's it been like with the team? Has the team been able to understand and I guess feel for what the change has made with you coming in, and what's the approach been, and what have conversations been like? Obviously, you haven't had a chance to play many games with the All-Star break this weekend.
Yeah, it happened pretty quickly, but from what was going on in-house, it wasn't a shock to the players. They kind of seen what was happening and what was going to change, and so it came up pretty easily for them. I think they've all taken it really well, and I've had a lot of players reach out and say they're happy that I'm taking over, just as they already know me for the last 3 years, so they're comfortable with it instead of having to kind of learn a new philosophy and a new way of coaching and all that stuff and a new way to play the game. So I think it's been received well, and I think we're going to be on a good pace here to finish out the season in a good positive role.
Well, you're going to be spending a lot of time on a bus here, Brayden. 8-game road trip. How do you stay focused?
Yeah, sometimes I find being on the road's easier to stay focused. There's not as many distractions as when you're at home and can just kind of go doing what you want. It's a lot more structured. You're together with the guys a lot more, so it's a lot more just baseball than, say, baseball and other stuff when you're at home.
Totally fair. Well, best of luck on this lengthy road swing as we are deep into this WCBL season. We wish you nothing but the best, safe travels, and we'll have to catch up when you're back at Curry Field.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me on, and go Red Sox.
Let's go. Congratulations on the new interim position, of course, to Brayden Cobb, the new field manager for the Regina Red Sox in the 2026 season, and we thank him for taking the time to join us as always. We are going to take a quick break. We're going to wrap things up with a few more comments from the Saskatchewan Roughriders after practice earlier today. We'll be back. It's the Sports Cage on the home of local sports, 620 CKRM, and streaming at sportscage.com. It was announced earlier this afternoon the Toronto Argonauts have signed veteran CFL pass rusher Sean Lemon. Also, the Calgary Stampeders have released American defensive back and former Saskatchewan Roughrider Benny Sapp III, as well as American receiver Rashad Owens. Saskatchewan Roughriders have added some depth on the defense, signing American defensive lineman Derek Robertson, as well as defensive back Millard Bradford. Bradford, pardon me. Robertson brings CFL and pro experience after spending 3 seasons with the Tennessee Titans, 19 games, 5 sacks. Most recently played with the DC Defenders. Wow, it's been a long day apparently. DC Defenders of the UFL, where he earned all UFL honors in 2026 after posting 8 sacks, 12 tackles for loss. Bradford joins Saskatchewan after spending time with the Saints and the Chicago Bears. Former TCU standout, played 58 games in college, 231 tackles, 4 interceptions, 19 pass breakups. Western Canadian Baseball League action. The Millers are in Medicine Hat to face the Mavericks. Weyburn Beavers in Swift Current to take on the 57s in a doubleheader. WCBL All-Star Game, a 9-2 victory for Team East, which included 5 players from the Regina Red Sox that you just heard us talking about with Brayden Cobb, Toronto Blue Jays taking on the Tampa Bay Rays right now. FIFA final was yesterday. Of course, we now have Spain crowned as the victors, beating Argentina 1-0 in the final. It's Spain's second ever World Cup men's title. U.S. Open Championship, New Zealand's Ryan Fox winning his first major and one of the biggest shots of his career on the 18th hole there, sinking a birdie. And then, of course, the news broke yesterday via the Saskatchewan Roughriders. They alerted fans, Rider Nation, the media, everybody that Jayden Dalke had passed away at the age of 30 following a 2-vehicle fatal collision on a Saskatchewan highway. More information is being released by RCMP as the hours progress and time goes on. You can always, of course, find the latest at sastoday.ca. When we first started off the show, we opened it with comments from the Riders general manager, Jeremy O'Day. If you would like to go back and listen to those comments and him addressing the media with his full statement, you can go back and listen to this in podcast form at any time. Or, of course, we are on YouTube, so you can go there. You can just scooch all the way back to the beginning of the show, and you can hear his comments there. He was a captain. He was a linebacker. Jayden Dalke, at the age of only 30. We will talk about the Riders more and more as the week progresses, but today is certainly a day where we just want to, send our thoughts and our condolences to all of his teammates, the Rider organization, his family, and of course the fans here at the Sports Cage. Our thoughts are with you. And of course his teammates also had plenty to say. Fellow captains at Rider practice today, right, Dave? They were the ones addressing media?
Absolutely. We heard from Jameer Thurman and Trevor Harris, amongst others.
So Jameer Thurman specifically focused about, what Jayden would want in this situation had it been somebody else in that position.
First thing I did is I always go to our linebacker room, and and that's when I found out. It was very unfortunate, but I know that, he will want us to keep doing what we've been doing, never let up, and just go out there and play for him for sure, but play for ourselves as well, because he will always be a part of our family, and we love him.
That, of course, was Jameer Thurman speaking on the passing of Jayden Dalke. And the Saskatchewan Roughriders will be playing for him, as you heard him say, for number 38 this Thursday night as the Edmonton Elk are in town to face your Saskatchewan Roughriders. We will have all of the calls with Dave Thomas and Luke Mullender right here on 620 CKRM and our Sports Cage YouTube channel, our sportscage.com website as well. And we will have your pregame show starting on 620 CKRM with myself, Wes Cates, Barney Shinkrook, Justin Dunk. We'll all be there starting at 4 p.m. Kickoff is at 7 o'clock local time from here in Regina. It's going to be a toasty one, so make sure you stay hydrated, and we will see you at the stadium because Barney is in for the remainder of the week. Welcome back again to Colson. So happy to have you back here, even though you might be sick of us already. One show in. That's okay. Barney's back tomorrow. You get to put up with him. On behalf of myself, Dave Thomas, Colson Schultz, and you for listening, thanks for being here. This is the Sports Cage on 620 CKRM and streaming at sportscage.com.